Chapter 1231, Shadow. Chapter 1231, Shadow. Proofreader, Papatonks. Against imminent death, Fan responded with the same deadly attack, his eyes flashing gold and black respectively, as he unleashed a thunderflame, void annihilation of his own BAM. The resounding explosion sent black flames swirling everywhere, actually burning the water to nothing. Fan got flung 1,000 meters, his eyes burning as blood trickled down while the copycat. Blasted, he's still in the same spot and mocking me. Fan's heart sank. He's godlike, knowing both my skills and ending up way stronger than me on top. The longer he fought, the worse it would be. Fan was at an impasse. The copycat laughed at his conundrum. Where did all that bluster go? Didn't you think it was going to be easy than the first trial? Senior, why must you go so far? What do you get out of this? Oh, you still think I won't kill you, huh? The copycat smiled. Do you know how long I've been in this place? Without a body, I am stuck in this nether sea for all eternity. Doesn't nether sea have reincarnation? Why haven't you tried yet? Reincarnation? The copycat's eyes turned vicious, his smile mocking. Reincarnation means relinquishing everything. It's impossible for me, who has so many things I'm clinging on to. I have my own way, reborn without reincarnating. I'll just destroy a human spirit and possess his body. Alas, no such specimen has darkened my door. Now that you're here, I'll kill your spirit and take your body and be reborn. Hi, hi, hi. The copycat cackled while dashing for Fan, while unleashing sundering sword, heaven-sealing sword, soaring sword, vaulting sword, and decimating sword strikes to obliterate him. Fan jumped back again and again, dodging out of the whirlwind of death. The close calls and the thick bloodlust he sensed from the slashes had him shudder plop. Fan got struck by 3 sword waves, one through each hand and one through the shoulder. The pain was agonizing, a pain felt in the soul. Fan was used to it by now, though. The problem was how to deal with the relentless copycat. Fan brightened just then, finding hope in one aspect. The copycat has taken all my skills, but does that include my recent insight as well? Fan halted his movements under the rain of sword energy, stilling his mind at extreme power. Tyranny obliterated in an instant. Qilin fist. Fan punched, with the tip exploding in a brilliant red boom. The space warped around him as the nether sea roiled. The horrible power crushed all in its path as it went for the copycat. Not even the sword energies could withstand the tyrannical path he gleaned in at the first trial matched the Qilin's power to a degree that it could take on a saint. The copycat merely smiled, shocking Fan by punching as well, using the exact same motion Fan did. He can copy even this. Ha ha ha, I told you I'm you. I have what you have. The copycat smashed forward, but far stronger. Bam! The punches met and the water boiled. The black cracks around them spread in every direction, but the strongest shockwave came straight for Fan. The copycat had crushed his attack again. Fan couldn't believe this was happening. Am I helpless against some pretender? Bam! The aftermath flung him half a mile, making his entire body feel pain and weakening him. As he slumped to the ground, he was too weak to even get up. The only saving grace is I'm a soul without innards, or I'd be turned to paste by now. Whoosh! The copycat flashed before him with a savage grin. Ha! You lost and couldn't pass the trial. I will now use your spirit to be reborn. Ha ha! Huff! Fan panted, struggling to get up, only to sprawl back down in weakness. He closed his eyes, giving up. The copycat laughed harder as he placed a hand on Fan's head. It's over, Fan. Divine Eye of the Void, 8th stage, blink. Fan flashed his eyes open, and his right eye shone in 8 golden rings. The copycat's chest sported a hole in it as he froze in place. Fan glared at him in a shaking hand. Didn't you have all my skills and strength? Don't you know the Divine Eye of the Void 8th stage can transfer any of my attacks to you through space? Ugh. The copycat frowned, then sneered. Of course I did. I just didn't care. Fan stared hard. The copycat mocked. Take a look down. Fan stared and found his chest having an extra breathing hole as well, in the same spot as the copycat looking up at the copycat. The chest was healing. Fan was perplexed. Haha, who do you think I am? The copycat cackled. I told you that I'm you. Harming me is harming yourself. Kill me, and you kill yourself. All harm you do to me, you do to yourself. You could do nothing to me. Fan shuddered. No way. Why then are you fine with all the wounds you caused me? The copycat gave an insufferable grin. Fan was so confused. He didn't know what to do. I can't harm a copycat no matter what I do. He's even stronger than me. How am I even supposed to win? Since this was a trial, there had to be a way to pass it. Fan frowned hard and thought the copy sneered, floating 100 meters above, and pointed at Fan. Main, farewell. From now I'm Fan. Haha. Fan was still puzzled, even as the killing move came for him. Why does he have my divine eye of the void and apocalyptic thunderflame? He even has my recent insight on the tyrannical fist. It's like seeing another me. No one else can have my insights to such flawless degree. Not even a sovereign can do it. Fan looked up at the same face marred by the savage grin and spread his arms as he gambled the copycats. Sword strike ran through Fan's chest, and the two bodies clashed, with the heads facing each other. The copycat didn't look happy at his win, while Fan was calm. When did you notice? The copycat spoke. Fan said, just now. I can't kill you since I get wounded instead. This means we're one. You've also been going on that you're me as well, Fan. You won, Fan. It looks like I won't be able to be reborn like last time by taking over your body. The copycat turned into a black mist and entered Fan. Fan's eyes were vague. When he snapped out of it, he found himself sitting down and unharmed before a broken wooden gate. There was not a trace of battle around. His shadow floated away, forming a man in black 3 meters away as he congratulated Fan. You passed. Chapter 1232, Third Trial. Chapter 1232, Third Trial. Proofreader, Papatonks. Thank you, Senior. Fan stood up and bowed before the shadow. Senior, was everything that happened an illusion? Yes and no. What does it mean? An illusion is fake, but the contents can be real and fake. The shadow replied. Those were the doubts your heart had. Fan asked, if I had died in there, would I have died now? Yes and no. And what does that mean? Fan would have died, while the one who lived, Fan finished. My current self would have died, while the old me would be reborn. The shadow nodded. You can see it like that, but dying would be an exaggeration, since you're both one. The one remaining would control the heart. Are demonic emperor Fan and the current Fan's hearts the same? Fan shook his head. Fan came from the mortal domain, while Fan was a genius of the sacred domain. Their hearts diverged long ago. Why then do you still accept him? The shadow smiled. As hearts differ, so do their paths. With both of you sharing the same space, it will lead to conflicts that leads to inner demons. You don't remove him, but accept him instead? Fan smiled and shook his head. Hearts change, but be it for good or bad, I can never deny who I was. The path I tread today was built on his remnant. Denying it means destroying my future, just like how my strike hurt me instead of him, for we are one. Marvelous. The shadow gave a bright smile. Many saints that have gained power turn their back on their past, if not erasing it completely, focused only on seeking the sovereign stage. They are blind to the truth that this action destroys their very selves. Each person's path leaves its mark from the very first step one takes. Erasing this mark will crush any chance at finishing their journey. This is the reason behind there being so many saints, yet hardly any reaching the sovereign stage. Thank you, Senior, for your guidance. Fan bowed. The shadow floated before Fan and reached with a finger on his forehead, shining prismatically. If it had been Fan before me instead, I would have sent you back. I'm glad it's Fan, and now you have passed the trial. Fan felt his heart becoming clearer, understanding deeper insights. He found with a start that he had grown in heart and mentality. Senior, may I go to the third trial? Of course, let me send you off. With a wave, Fan found a black gate before him. He gave a long look, but then someone pushed him inside. The shadow waved again, and the gate vanished whoosh. The sea-crossing old man and the big man appeared next to him. Nodding as Zhua Fan vanished, he passed again. I feared he would choose the old stubborn path. Yeah, since Zhua Fan of now is also the Zhua Yi Fan of before. The shadow sighed and rejoiced. I was worried as well that he'd become Zhua Yi Fan, ruining all our hard work. Zhua Yi Fan is the epitome of a demonic cultivator, obstinate and narrow-minded. He's unable to grasp the core of the demon transformation art or accept our paths. If Zhua Fan had been hostile and denied his former self, he would have become that narrow as well, and his heart would have closed up. What fortune it never came to be. The two nodded. Many people believe what they do is right while shunning others that do the same thing. They don't realize that everyone else is their reflection. It's funny how the world is filled with fools fighting with themselves. Our efforts have borne fruit, for Zhua Fan accepted his past and steps closer to the Tao. It's too soon to tell. There's one last trial to go before the Nether Sovereign's test. Any deviation means everything we worked for is lost, and the final victor will be the Heavenly Sovereign. The big man was grave, while the others sighed rumble. The three looked up at the sky and tensed. Our four sovereign paths have been holding the Nether Sea for so many years against the Heavenly Sovereign, but with two of us having been passed on, there's no telling how long before the Nether Sea falls under his assaults. I just hope it'll be enough for all the inheritances to be passed on. Boom! Another rumble came from above, making the entire sea roil and the sea beasts rushing into hiding. All of them. Zhua Fan slammed into the ground once more with a familiar cry. This place was way weirder than the last ones. There were pinwheels, wooden horses, swings, rocking chairs, and many, many more. Toys. Zhua Fan's face twitched. The first trial had a huge stone gate, almost impossible to open, but there I gained the tyrannical path. The second trial was facing my former self to temper my mind. The seniors were quirky and had their own styles as mighty seniors. So what then is up with the third trial? A playground? I wouldn't have bought this stuff for young Sanzi 100 years ago. Zhua Fan was on high alert regardless, shouting after seeing no one. Is this the third trial? Senior, could you come out? Silence. Zhua Fan searched around, but there wasn't any sign of any man around whoosh. A shadow flashed behind that startled Zhua Fan. Looking back, there was no one there. Another person appeared behind him again, and Zhua Fan swished around, but still no one. Senior, please, enough with the games. You have enough power to toy with me to death. Ha ha, I am close to dying of boredom, all alone for so many eons. Don't worry, I won't get tired of you anytime soon. A child's voice echoed, making Zhua Fan flinch. Looking back, he still found no one there. Senior, does passing the third trial imply beating you as well? Why beat me? The child giggled. Since you want to pass, the goal is hide and seek. You find me and you pass. Hide and seek. Zhua Fan frowned. Isn't that just random? Is that what you think? The child started. Then let's play with the wooden dolls. When to pass. Curses. Now the topic changed at random. There's no logic behind it. Unlike the other two seniors, this guy's all over the place. Is this the third trial's guardian? Zhua Fan's face twitched and shook his head. Senior, can you please not joke around? I really want to pass, but isn't this a little beneath you? Beneath me? A big guy, like he wants my respect? A figure flashed before Zhua Fan, an 8-year-old child. He might look like that, but the eyes hid wisdom, while the face showed pride as he looked down of sorts on Zhua Fan. Zhua Fan had a weird feeling. It was like meeting young Sanzi again. He should have called young Sanzi a senior back then as well, but it was just too hard to say that to someone so young in body and mind. Oh, senior is a dead sacred beast as well. Hey, I'm human all the way. The child huffed and stuck out his tongue. Buddy, ever heard of the best talent in antiquity? Best talent? Zhua Fan mulled. Isn't that the Heavenly Sovereign? He's the first among the 10 sovereigns. Bah, his cultivation is the greatest, but he's not the best talent. The child turned smug. Talent is excelling in youth, achieving in their prime, and continues to dominate in their seniority. Look at me, my looks, my everlasting youth. Aren't I an excelling youth? The Heavenly Sovereign has nothing on me. He can only stay in his 20s at best. In other words, he got his success at 20, reaching a cultivation enough to not grow old only then. But me, I got all at 8. Who's the genius now? Chapter 1233, Child Sovereign. Chapter 1233, Child Sovereign. Proofreader, Papatonks. Juefan sized him up and shouted, I heard that among the 10 sovereigns, the last one is the child sovereign, having found his path in youth. Can it be that, sir? Hey, leave that last part out. The child sovereign's face twitched and sneered. Were all sovereigns yet talk behind another's back? Especially those 3, having no shame calling themselves the top of sovereigns. And when it's my turn, they label me as the rut. Couldn't you have come up with the ultimate talent instead? Are you looking down on me because of my looks? Juefan chuckled, bowing with respect. Forgive me, sovereign. But even so, sir is still a sovereign, a realm all want to achieve and never could, even if they get a poor title. I'd rather not hear you saying that about me. I'm not much worse than the other 9 either. The child sovereign flared his nostrils, looking at Juefan with a cold gaze. Buddy, did you come to pass the trial? Yes. Just go home. You won't make it. Why? I didn't even try. You're still asking why? Because you mentioned that title, that's why. Humph. The child sovereign stuck out his tongue. You call me last, so I'll keep you in the nether sea until you rot. Juefan sighed. The child sovereign looks like a kid, but he's been a sovereign for countless eons, unlike Gu Santong. So how can he still act like one? Just how did he become a sovereign anyway? What's his path? Regardless, he's being hard on me on purpose. At least I've been through this before with young Sanzi. Maybe I'll just coax the young sovereign. Just what made them stay the same after years and years. Sovereign, that was but a slip of the tongue. In truth, everyone respects and admires Sir the most among all the others. Juefan beamed, putting on an amiable look as he sucked up to him. There has never been one with more talent than Sir in all of history. There hasn't been any youth achieving their paths for so long. Even my godson, Gu Santong, it was because he was a young sacred beast that he had so much power, but he also grew up in the end. Only Sir, forever young, can outclass all the other sovereigns. They must be jealous of your talent to call you last. But Sir isn't last. To me, you are the first. Child Sovereign gave a wide smile. Truly, more real than you and I. Just with your youthful looks, none of the others can match. They must be dying with envy. Ha! Juefan smirked, running his mouth. It was an amazing feat attaining one's path at such an age, making him unique, but no one wanted to be stuck as a sniveling brat. The child sovereign's talent was incredible, but he was stuck in this form and could only console himself. Why would any other sovereigns ever be jealous of a shorty? Even Juefan wouldn't want to be like him. The child sovereign nodded, being as simple as his name implied, making a little flattery work on him. Right, you have good eyes, pal. So you want to pass? I'll give you a hand. Since you adore me so much, I can let you go through. No trouble. But before that, I am guarding this trial on behalf of the Nether Sovereign. I have to play my part, or he'll nag me later. Please do, Senior. Juefan rejoiced. The other trials were dangerous, but both got him something great. The last trial had to be up to par as well, and he was looking forward to it. Child Sovereign beamed. So, I'll go easy on you by playing catch. Grab me, and you pass. Juefan's face twitched, shaking his head. Sovereign, isn't this too easy? Does Sir have a deeper meaning behind the children's game? What else can help you pass? Oh, only passing. Juefan felt let down for overthinking it. He feared it might be something impossible and would have failed, but now it was way too easy, and he'd get nothing. I'm so picky. The child sovereign saw through him. Why? You like pain? Can do. The same game, but this time I'll make sure you'll be stuck here till you rot. Juefan's heart sank, having gone through 2 trials. He knew the sovereigns had a reason for being mysterious and acting so strange. Maybe the game's the same? Juefan nodded gravely. Please guide me, Senior. Juefan shot to grab the child sovereign whoosh. The child sovereign vanished then and there, popping behind him, on a wooden horsey. Still think it's easy, not even able to reach me. Whoosh! Juefan flashed as well and reached out for child sovereign's shoulder. I knew that even a restrained sovereign is impossible for me to overcome so easily. Zhuo Fan sounded from behind Child Sovereign, his right eye shining in a golden halo as his hand was inches from the Child. Zhuo Fan felt some uneasiness as he continued. Of course, if Sovereign used some mystical art, I would never ever be able to do it in a million years. Reverse psychology, is it? The Child Sovereign's eyes shone and snickered. Relax. I'm quite conscientious when playing and won't break the rules. Though it's not like it'll make a difference. You sneaky rascal. Ha ha. Zhuo Fan watched him on top of the strangely swaying wooden horse, just as his hand grabbed at the child's shoulder, without touching him. I couldn't catch him, even at such a distance. Zhuo Fan was startled. The Child Sovereign was on the same swaying horse, giggling. I didn't move this time, but you still couldn't catch me? Ha ha. The Child Sovereign scurried over to a nearby bed. Laughing, Zhuo Fan was grave. The Child Sovereign has some weird movements. It looked like he used the swaying wooden horse to avoid me. Such precision and subtlety is just what a sovereign can do. He's weaker now, but he has experience and mentality to help him take on anyone. Zhuo Fan's brow shook, his right eye shining golden. Freeze! The Child Sovereign's face turned solid and Zhuo Fan reappeared to try and touch him, only for Child Sovereign to vanish once again. Illusion. Zhuo Fan's heart raced. I didn't use any skill, having slipped away before you reached out. The Child Sovereign sounded from behind. Zhuo Fan saw him on a swing, moving his feet around with a smile, so fast. Zhuo Fan gasped. He's restrained, yet can move faster than my divine eye of the void. A sovereign is on a whole other level. He doesn't have just strength, but many insights and skills to widen the gulf from the rest. Zhuo Fan was eager to fight, shooting for the Child Sovereign with the divine eye of the void shining brightly. He flashed on and off, his hands moving and forming a net to trap the Child Sovereign. The kid's image warped like a mist, small or big. As it slipped through the net with his annoying snicker, the playground found itself scoured by two figures, running all over the place as one chased and the other dodged. Zhuo Fan gasped, huffing after 4 hours of no results. The Child Sovereign was giggling still from the swing. Brat, tired already? Look at me. I'm not even out of breath. You're a sovereign. How's that a comparison? It's just catch, yet you've been up to your old tricks and guile all this time. Of course you'll wear out. The Child Sovereign sighed. Pal, do you know the best animal to catch a mouse in his den? Zhuo Fan said, a cat. Fool, the mouse itself. The Child Sovereign mocked. You only want to catch me, not play along. Since you can't go along with the flow, how can you catch me? Do you even know how or where I'm dodging? Zhuo Fan shuddered, his mind abuzz. Chapter 1234. Return to your roots. Chapter 1234. Return to your roots. Proofreader, Papatonks. Zhuo Fan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. When he opened them, they lost their edge. The Child Sovereign nodded. Again. Sure. Zhuo Fan shouted as he smiled and went after the Child Sovereign. He still couldn't touch him, however. He no longer looked so stressed out, but casual as he went after Child Sovereign again. And again, he got so into it. Zhuo Fan forgot how many times he'd been doing it, and instead enjoyed the game just for the fun of it. Zhuo Fan ran all over the place, finally feeling that the Child Sovereign was almost within grasp. Zhuo Fan's hand missed the Child Sovereign, but then he grabbed out of reflex to his side. Actually feeling flesh, Zhuo Fan looked back at the Child Sovereign, smile. I got you. Congrats, you passed. The congratulations no longer sounded childish, his face turning mature as he nodded. Zhuo Fan said, passed? What? Then it hit him that he had been playing the Child Sovereign's game to pass the third trial. He was just so engrossed that he forgot about anything else as he chased the Sovereign around. You've accepted the new change of pace, good. The Child Sovereign sighed. Now, wasn't that fun playing a game? Wasn't it great to forget all your worries? Zhuo Fan nodded the Child Sovereign's side of the sky. Kid, I'm the best talent in the world, having found my path since very young. Everyone thought I was the strongest human, their representative and hope. But I've become a sovereign 100,000 years later than the other 9, the so-called last. Do you know why? Please enlighten me, Senior. Zhuo Fan bowed. The Child Sovereign continued. Achieving success in youth means becoming the center of everyone's hopes and responsibilities, yet having scarce experience. No knowledge and no guidance had paused my cultivation at peak Saint for ages. In the end, all the other 9 advanced, with only me left behind. I was confused, disillusioned, whining, dragging my feet, and then shouted at the sky, what more did it want? I've seen many famous masters asking without shame for guidance. I've gone through trials and hardship, only to realize that what I lacked was living. Living. Yes, living. The child sovereign spoke. At birth, we come into this world wanting nothing. No fame, no power, free and light. Only as we grow do we yearn for wealth and fame, pursuing lofty dreams while burdening ourselves with much more and more weights. Myself the most, being humanity's top, I had heavy burdens on me, glory and duty. The joy and pain robbed me of plain living. So I've spent those 100,000 years doing just that, living. I even acted as a child and played with other kids to mend the hole inside me and become a sovereign. My path is that of average, returning to my roots. The child sovereign faced Fan and patted his shoulder. Brat, no human starts off burdened. All the worries you have are things you pick as you pursue your goal. By picking them up, you need to learn to also let go of them. Haven't you done just that since now? Return to your roots, that of an innocent child. Observe the world, and you will catch me. I can't thank you enough, Senior. Fan bowed. Child sovereign smiled and pointed 2 fingers on Fan's forehead, flashing prismatic. This is your proof to reach the nether sovereign's seat of enlightenment. A harsher test awaits you. Fan shuddered and felt a cool feeling taking over his heart, bringing him peace. Sovereign, where might the nether sovereign's seat of enlightenment be? Fan bowed. Child sovereign smirked and pointed at a wooden horse. Giddy up, it will take you there. That, Fan winced. Sovereign, don't you have anything normal instead of a toy? It's 2. Not flashy enough? I got a wooden lion with a royal air, if that's mortar style. That won't be necessary. Fan sighed. It's not gaudiness, just that going on a wooden toy to see the nether sovereign is a little lame. What's so lame about it? I always go over there like that. The child sovereign glared at him. Didn't I tell you to let go? You expect to reach your path, clinging onto all those biases from the secular world? Fine, since you won't go home. No, I'll take it. Fan rushed to stop him, putting on a grimace as he got on the wooden horse. He struck a funny image. A grown man riding a children's horse. He still looked stylish, though the child sovereign burst out laughing. Fan sighed. Sovereign, you must be bored to death, using games to toy with me. But I can take it, for I respect my seniors. Better keep that to yourself, and have your last shred of decency. Ha ha. Go. Pa. Slapping the horses, but the wooden horse shot forth like a shooting star. Fan was gone before he knew it. The child sovereign smiled. This leaves the nether sovereign side. Old friend, it's up to you now. Boom. Cataclysmic explosions rumbled as the sky cracked and the nether sea boiled. Child sovereign sighed. Heavenly sovereign, you're here. The child sovereign vanished. He reappeared high in the sky along with 3 other figures. They said with urgency. How was it? Did he pass? Isn't it obvious since I'm here? The child sovereign looked at the sky and at the spreading cracks with clenched fists. How long will it last? The trio shook their heads. Heavenly Sovereign's divine eye of the void's 2nd stage. Void annihilation is designed to break barriers. With only one sovereign path remaining, with the nether sovereign linking with the nether sea, I believe it would last at most 1 hour. In other words, the nether sovereign must pass on his life and death path in this short time before all is for naught. The child sovereign ended. Dark clouds loomed in the horizon, with a minute light trailing among the gloomy weather. How's this wooden horse so fast? The biting winds made Fan's ride unpleasant, shocked at the toy's speed. In moments, he was on a bleak mountain, with a stone platform made up of 3 square meters black blocks. A wooden cross stood tall on the platform, with a familiar figure tied to it struggling to break free off those bonds. Ching-chung. Chu Ching-chung started and cheered. Fan, The image of Zhuo Fan on the wooden horse left her speechless. Just where did you find that weird ride? She then snapped out of it. Zhuo Fan, help me. I'm coming. Zhuo Fan shot off the horse before it landed, only to freeze on the spot the minute he touched the ground. He watched as gray mist floated from below and grabbed his leg's apocalyptic thunderflame eye. Zhuo Fan let out the black thunderflame, burning the gray mist and making it wail. You dare? Who is running amok in my seat of enlightenment? Chapter 1235, Lost Souls. Chapter 1235, Lost Souls. Proofreader, Papatonks. Whoosh. As the eerie wind blew, gray mist fell from the skies above, turning into a dark and aged face staring down the two with bloodthirst, my seat of enlightenment. Chu Qingcheng was baffled. Does that mean he's... Zhuo Fan rushed a bow. Greetings, Nether Sovereign. It's really the Nether Sovereign? Didn't he die? Chu Qingcheng was stumped. Why then is everyone fighting over his seat of enlightenment then? They're only getting themselves killed, trying to steal from the owner. She didn't know what to think of all those greedy fools. It was said that the 10 ancient sovereigns fell, and finding their seat of enlightenment would mean inheriting their legacy to become a sovereign. Since the guy was still alive, and you're trying to steal his stuff, you must be itching to die. The Nether Sovereign glanced over and sneered. I am Nether Sovereign, ruling over life and death. Death won't stop me. Since my Nether Sea can hold lost souls, why can't I hold myself? Huh? Chu Qingcheng bobbed her head. Yeah, the Nether Sovereign is the patriarch of all lost souls. With the Nether Sea holding them, it can have him as well. Those out there must be unbearably naive to go after the Nether Sovereign stuff of all people. But we were not here to take anything. We just got involved by accident. What a cruel fate. Senior Nether Sovereign, we have come here by accident and only wish to return to our world and not take anything. I hope Sir will pardon us. Zhuo Fan bowed. As per your demands, I passed the 3 trials. Please let us go. Chu Qingcheng bobbed her head. The Nether Sovereign sneered. Trials? Right, I did set those up so one could see me by passing them, but that does not guarantee you'll get to leave with your life. A chance isn't the same as certainty. It's all up to my mood. Senior Nether Sovereign, are you perhaps happy now? Anything but. What? Zhuo Fan and Chu Qingcheng asked Nether Sovereign scorned. You expect me to smile when some brats barge in, messing up my concentration. Rumble. A boom came from up above, and the Nether Sovereign turned grave. However, I won't go hard on you, and shall give you a choice. One of you shall stay, and one can return. You choose. I'm staying. Both shouted at the same time. The Nether Sovereign cackled. Haha, that was quick. Was I being too easy, perhaps? Then here's another. Senior, you're a renowned sovereign. How could you not keep your word? Chu Qingcheng tensed and looked at Zhuo Fan. Since you're letting someone go, let him. I will become a lost soul. Zhuo Fan remained silent, because he knew the problem was simple and complicated. Neither of them wanted the other to become a lost soul. The Nether Sovereign had brought up this question because he already had a solution in mind. The Nether Sovereign smiled. I told you that you have a chance to walk away alive. Since you couldn't choose it, let me help you. The Nether Sovereign's eyes shot 2 gray rays that created a huge hole in the air. Howling and booming came from beyond the 2 of them, saw familiar people running, chased around by a tide of shadows. He Xiaofeng and Zhao Chun are being hounded by the Nether Sea souls. Bali Yu was there as well. What's she doing here? Zhuo Fan was worried. The Nether Sovereign turned to them. Your enemy and your friend are there. Now, since only one can live, who will you choose? Zhuo Fan fell silent between him and Chu Qingcheng. He would pick Qingcheng without delay. His life was his own, and didn't matter what happened as long as he passed on with clear conscience. But Bali Yu's sudden entrance made it harder. Dying because of him would make him feel guilty. Zhuo Fan never owed anyone anything, and this made the choice that much harder. Go. The Nether Sovereign laughed, blowing over them and sending them among the sea of lost souls. Bam! He Xiaofeng met an old man's palm with his own, sending him reeling and his blood boiling. Despite being a soul, curses, there are saint souls here. The Nether Sea is too difficult. Oh, Qingsheng, you're here. You found them. Zhao Chun beat a soul and looked in joy. Steward Zhua, where did you go? We couldn't find you no matter how much we looked. Are you all right? Zhua Fan frowned. They did not cross the 3 trials, or maybe, were they for me? Doesn't everyone have the chance to receive a sovereign's guidance? Whoosh! A shadow appeared and struck for Zhua Fan's back, but then a kick sent it flying as Bali Yu flashed on Zhua Fan's side. Rejoicing, Zhua Fan, you're all right. Yu, did someone tell you about 3 trials? What trials? The minute we entered, lost souls started chasing us down, not bothering to even speak. I just thought they can't speak to begin with. Why? Oh, nothing. Zhua Fan was grave, further proving that the tests were held for him in particular. Further, the only way to find the Nether Sea was through Sovereign Yun's globe. Then there were the Sovereign's 3 tests. Was this all on purpose? But why? I was a mere demonic emperor before. Is it because I found 9 Serenity's secret records? Zhua Fan was confused. Zhua Fan startled awake. Qingcheng. Chu Qingcheng was still stuck to the cross, unable to move, as the souls shrieked and approached Qingcheng. He Xiaofeng shouted as well, yet was happy inside. Great, a damsel in distress in need of a hero. I don't know how she got up there or how she appeared here, but I just have to save her and her heart will be mine, as well as it. He Xiaofeng shot for Chu Qingcheng, shining silver. A huge figure with 8 swords on its back appeared, almost 1,000 meters tall, a saint's unique ability, sacred body. Damned souls, leave Qingcheng alone. The huge image reached for 2 swords and slashed boom. Tornadoes flew from the speed and power and erased everything in their path. He Xiaofeng's image towered above like a mighty king. He sneered at everyone with pride and conceit. Well, Qingcheng, aren't I cool? Bam! He didn't get to wallow in his narcissistic tendencies, as the following boom was from an even bigger fist hurtling his image through the air. He hit the ground hard and shattered his sacred body. He Xiaofeng felt his entire body aching and turned pale. Who did that? Curses, that really hurt. He Xiaofeng panted as he strained to look up. Peak Saint? There's a Peak Saint in the Nether Sea? He actually died? Before him was another colossal image, wearing a dark face of disdain. Ignorant pipsqueak. In the great ancient war, even sovereigns fell, let alone some lousy Peak Saints. You dare prance before me, foolish second-layer saint? He Xiaofeng's heart sank. The Nether Sea is the Nether Sovereign's domain, so of course there be monstrous souls. Chapter 1236. Life and Death. Chapter 1236. Life and Death. Proofreader, Papatonks. Saint, what do we do? Zhao Chun panicked in the face of such an unstoppable enemy and rushed to He Xiaofeng. Since you're a saint, you should handle it, right? Besides, he's dead while you're alive. He Xiaofeng's face twitched, his heart shaking as he found himself stuck, unable to do anything. He was the Sacred Mountain's young master, with lofty cultivation enough to toy with any other fools outside, as none could do the same to him here, though. He couldn't raise his head, for his fist was weaker. Bam! Another boom echoed as the saint's fist came for another blow. Lightning flashed, with the space cracking in places and warmth coming from one hole. That's yang energy. He Xiaofeng shouted. That's the exit. Use it to leave. Humph, you're right about that, for no matter how hellish the Nether Sea is, a glimmer of hope will always exist. The dark man's hand took out a cup with bamboo sticks, throwing it to the ground. These are life and death omens, with only 10 of 1,000 bearing life. Win and get lost. Lose and you'll stay, forever. The group looked grave with this Peak Saint taking charge. There was no forcing one's way out. The only choice was to follow his rules, test their luck on those sticks, and hope to get that one slim chance at life. None felt the odds any bit promising. I'll go first. Zhua Fan stepped out. Others found this situation a life or death case, while he tried to look beyond it and understand its purpose. Since the sovereign set this up, I should be safe. Without a care, Zhua Fan reached out for a stick. The others were tense and grateful. Even Zhao Chun felt admiration for the man. Steward Zhua is a cut above the rest. It's a shame his cultivation is so low, for he excels in everything else. Not everyone can take the pressure of facing imminent death. They were oblivious to the fact that the game was rigged, and he knew it. The stick he chose had the word life written in red. Good sign. Zhao Chen laughed. With just 1% chance, he picked life. Steward Zhua's fortune is beyond life. Ha ha ha. What fortune? That is a total disaster. He Xiaofeng spat. Picking life means our odds just dropped. Imbecile. Zhao Chun choked. No one else was eager to try their luck. In the end, Bali Yu finally went for it. The thin stick had a black word on it. Death. Bali Yu sighed towards Zhua Fan. The others tensing. Life is fortune, while death is normal. But will such a blessing fall on me as well? What are the rest of you waiting? The Peak Saint huffed. I take it that you give up and choose to stay in the Nether Sea forever. He Xiaofeng glared hard at Zhao Chun, barking, go pick. Since the order wouldn't change anything, Zhao Chun reached out with a shaky hand. Picking up a life stick, Zhao Chun was elated and laughed. He Xiaofeng's face twitched. Curses, I should have gone instead. Now the odds are lower. He Xiaofeng reached out with a trembling hand, sweat trickling down. But then he thought better and pointed at Chu Qingcheng. Wait, what about her? How could she pick one when she's tied up? Her? She caused trouble and was tied up. She'll have to let another pick for her. Her fate is either to live or to have her soul destroyed here and now, never even able to wander the Nether Sea. What? Everyone gasped. What did she do to deserve such cruel punishment? Zhua Fan understood everything and said nothing. He Xiaofeng's eyes shone and picked. Death. He Xiaofeng's horrified face was pale as paper. The Peak Saint cackled. Rotten cretin. How many souls did you kill in the Nether Sea so far? You should have been tied up as well and die my hand. Now that you chose death, you're dead anyway. His palm flashed with unseen speed. Wait. He Xiaofeng shouted. The savage palm halted. Any last words? The stick wasn't for me, but for her. He Xiaofeng pointed at Chu Qingcheng. Chu Qingcheng shook her head. No, I didn't ask him to pick for me. That stick is his. Yeah, why would you get a pick for her? Because she's my fiancée. I decide everything about her. As if. I'm not your fiancé. Chu Qingcheng denied as she turned to Zhua Fan. He Xiaofeng shouted with pride. My sacred mountain supports her master, and she obeys us. You were always meant for me. You have always been my child bride. Everything you have is because of me. You can just ask your master when you go back. No, that just cannot be. Chu Qingcheng shook her head in anger. You're just afraid of dying and are spouting crap. No, he is right. The Peak Saint boomed. You entered with your souls in the Nether Sea and manifested in bodies. In other words, your soul's energy is under the Nether Sea's watchful eye. Any lie you say will be reflected on your own bodies. As there is no reaction from him, this proves it is true. Chu Qingcheng shuddered, hanging her head in disbelief. How could Master? Zhua Fan pondered. They know of the sovereign path on her, and they now want it. Well, can I choose for her now? Yes. Ignoring Chu Qingcheng's crushed face, He Xiaofeng asked for clarification, then grinned. Having extended his life for a couple more minutes, he now had another chance to actually survive this. So he picked a stick again, far more carefully. He Xiaofeng chose from the middle and held out the stick with the red word as he cackled. It's life. I picked life. I can return. Ha ha ha. You three can return while the women will stay. The Peak Saint spoke. You also have the option to give your stick to another if you so choose to. TCH, who'd ever pick death over life? That added part is pointless. Zhao Chan sneered as he looked around. He saw Yi Xiaofeng's savage grin. What are you doing? Nothing. Just wish you'd give life to Qingcheng. Yi Xiaofeng spoke evilly. As my fiancée, I have to save her. Screw you. Now you care? What about just now when you used her? Zhao Chen's face twitched, cursing inside. Then he turned to Zhua Fan. Saint, why are you going after me when he also has one? Yeah. He Xiaofeng's eyes shone with savagery. Setting his sinister smirk on Zhua Fan, the Peak Saint stepped in. Once chosen, only the two doing the exchange may decide. In other words, the one who chooses life must want to, but the one who chooses death must want just as well for the deal to work. TCH, it's obvious for a life chooser, but what's up with a death chooser refusing? Zhao Chan sneered. How do you know they wouldn't want to? The man mocked. Vulgar fools like you can never understand life and death. Have you forgotten that the Nether Sea is watching your souls? Your true intentions will be laid bare regardless of lies. That's why the Nether Sea insists for souls to enter. It's like baring yourself and exposing every aspect of you. He Xiaofeng sighed and spat. Zhuo Fan, weren't you always fond of Qingsheng? You should sacrifice yourself for her. No, I changed my mind. Zhuo Fan chuckled, turning to Bali Yu. I want to give my life to Yu. Chapter 1237, Cleanse. Chapter 1237, Cleanse. Proofreader, Papatonks. What? Everyone was baffled. Even Bali Yu, by Zhuo Fan's choice, didn't he always love Chu Qingsheng? Why? Zhuo Fan walked before Bali Yu and sighed as he gave her the life stick. There's no need for you to stay in hell because of me. Go back. You're giving me life because you owe me? Her big eyes watched him. Zhuo Fan shook his head. No, that intention might have been before, but now I truly want you to live. Just because the heart chooses to. Bali Yu looked at the peak saint with questioning eyes. He is sincere. The saint judged Bali Yu bit her lip and looked at Chu Qingsheng as she held her own death stick. I understand what you're thinking. Even though you want to die, I will respect your decision. Both hearts agree. The deal is concluded. The saint spoke. Zhuo Fan smiled and patted Bali Yu's shoulder. Taking her death stick and walking to Chu Qingsheng, Bali Yu's eyes teared up. He Xiaofeng was baffled. What's up with him? Why did he yearn for the death stick more than his life? Insatiable fools like you could never understand life and death. The peak saint sneered at them. Then he flashed next to Chu Qingsheng and Zhuo Fan, his huge palm hovering overhead. Having chosen death, this palm shall destroy you. Zhuo Fan hugged Chu Qingsheng with a peaceful expression. Will you regret us dying? It matters not. Not when neither life nor death can part us. Chu Qingsheng smiled back, then sighed. I just feel a bit of loss since I don't know where I came from. I had someone look into it. We'll know it soon, if we survive. Since death doesn't matter, neither does anything else as I'm with you. Chu Qingsheng muttered. Boom. The huge palm slammed down, the two vanishing in a flash of bright light. Dead, everyone watched them vanish. Then Zhao Chen shrugged. I came to the Nether Sea, yet got nothing for my troubles, losing instead my genius aid. Crack. He Xiaofeng's clenched his fists. I have it much worse than you. Do you have any idea how much Chu Qingsheng was worth? The ancient and fragmented records of the Sacred Mountains say that she could become a sovereign. It's an utter loss letting her die here in the Nether Sea. I shouldn't have brought her. I thought she might be of help searching for a sovereign's domain, but He Xiaofeng flicked his sleeve and left Bali Yu watched the two vanish with a bitter smile. The peak saint called out before she went as well. Wait, what is it? Bali Yu frowned. Tao is descending and the end of days is nigh. The only hope lies with Zhuo Fan. Seeing your sincerity towards him, I can trust you. The Nether Sovereign wishes to ask you if you will help him. He's still alive. Bali Yu cheered. Zhuo Fan and Chu Qingsheng appeared back on the stone platform, with the Nether Sovereign watching the couple with a nod. Living fear death, but that is mere regret of the things they have to give up by dying, the things they couldn't do. Letting go of everything makes life and death meaningless. Zhuo Fan, you passed the last test. Thank you, Sovereign, for your wisdom. Zhuo Fan bowed. Only, aren't you worried that I was certain you wouldn't kill me? The Nether Sovereign raised an eyebrow. Kill you? Did you really think I never thought of it? Except for the three guardians, the other testers were Zhui Yifan from your heart and that peak saint. None of them have ever gone easy on you. By failing to grasp the tyrannical path, you wouldn't have passed the first trial. You took on his fist intent, and while you can't feel it, your body is in shambles. Any more strikes, and your body would have crumbled and left you in the Nether Sea forever. Zhuo Yifan shuddered from shock. On the second trial, if Zhui Yifan had won, you wouldn't be you anymore. Your heart would have regressed to the time of being the demonic emperor in sacred domain, with 100 years of experience in the mortal domain erased. The Nether Sovereign continued. In the third trial, was it really just a game with the child sovereign? With your spirit king's soul power, didn't you find it odd how you still stood after 4 hours of relentless running? The trial strained your mind. Your spirit would have been spent to death if you hadn't understood the path. Gulpshuafan's heart froze. He always thought they used different ways of teaching him, not realizing the deadly danger lurking beneath the Nether Sovereign mocked. The 3 trials and the 5 testers all passed onto you their path while also ready to kill you in the process. Nothing is free in this world. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, with the reward always in correlation with the price. They were earnest in passing their path to you. That meant holding nothing back, even if it meant ruining everything by killing you. It is the only way to truly invest oneself in teaching, by giving their all so that you can understand them, just like that last palm. It struck not you, but your heart. Had you not let go of all your worries, even believing to have a lucky break, the palm would have shattered your soul. It had nothing to do with Miss Chu at all. It was all you, ha ha ha. Zhua Fan felt a chill down his spine, realizing with a start just how close he was skirting death. The sovereigns were too playful, hiding death behind their smiles and making me confused. The Nether Sovereign smiled rumble. The skies shook hard, the sound slamming into their ears. The Nether Sovereign grew worried and rushed things. Zhua Fan, once you return, focus on understanding my life and death path, as well as the other 3 paths. It's all up to you to stop the end of days. End of days, Zhua Fan started, but then a prismatic glow entered him from the Nether Sovereign. The gloomy sky shattered and golden rays shone down from the high heavens. Nether Sovereign shouted, "Go!" The 2 were blown away and vanished from sight. The Nether Sovereign turned to the golden glow above and whistled. The other testers arrived, looking grave. Heavenly Sovereign, after all these years, you still managed to force your way in. You asked for this, didn't you? The sky let out golden ripples, and a humongous eye appeared with 12 golden rings in its center. It would have been impossible to barge in here with your 4 sovereign paths holding me back. But you had to be suicidal and pass them all on. Suicidal. The first guardian mocked. We've died eons ago. Everyone here is a mere damned soul clinging to their path. How is that suicidal? The huge eye focused on him. Tyrant Sovereign, Shadow Sovereign, Child Sovereign, Nether Sovereign, and Rebirth Sovereign. You know yourselves to be damned souls, so why do you keep fighting me? I'm not doing this out of my wish, but for the world's Tao. But your path is frightening. The old fisherman said, the world is of yin and yang, condoning good and evil within its boundaries, without any extremes. All the creatures had the right to live. Heavenly Sovereign mocked. Tao is the foundation of everything in existence, discarded like a rag the minute the demonic path arrived. The world is tainted, no longer caring about Tao. What's terrifying is the demons in humanity. As the Heavenly Sovereign, I shall stand in heaven's stead to enact the Tao by purging all demons. As such, since you're all born of the demonic path, you all must be removed for being opposite of my path. We aren't demonic cultivators, but people in coherence with Tao. Nether Sovereign spoke. We seek the good in people, while you can't see right from wrong. Of course, we walk different paths. We really are different men on different paths. You want to use the demonic path to fuse the 10 paths to fight my heavenly path. But all your hopes will be in vain with your plan in shambles. I will be the one to fuse the paths and not the one you rest your hopes on. Heavenly Sovereign mocked. Farewell for good, old friends. Cleanse. The huge eye shone in 11 golden rings, unleashing a ripple of light. The Nether Sea vanished then and there. Despite the Nether Sovereign's calm face, Heavenly Sovereign, you will fail. Our paths shall bear witness. Chapter 1238, Emperor Stage. Chapter 1238, Emperor Stage. Proofreader, Papatonks. Whoosh. A shadow flitted beneath the blazing sun, Before slamming into Zhuo Fan's body, he shook and coughed blood. Senior Nether Sovereign was right. I couldn't feel it, but my body is a wreck from Senior Tyrant Emperor's punches. Feeling sharp pain from everywhere, Zhuo Fan sighed. Those seniors went all out when it came to passing their path, going as far as killing me if they had to. Big brother Zhuo. A cry came. Great, your soul is back. That he Xiaofeng and Zhao Chun came back before and said you and Sister Qingsheng died in Nether Sea. You gave me such a fright. Thank heavens Sister Yu came after and said that you'd wake up. Zhuo Fan looked at Shuang and her smile. Then he looked around, but all he found was Luo clansmen. Where are the others and Qingsheng? Ruby Cloud sect group heard of Sister Qingsheng's passing and took her body. Demonic Emperor and that he Xiaofeng didn't even look at you as they left. Shuang smiled. Zhuo Fan nodded. Those two only care about themselves and no one else. Since my soul returned, Qingsheng's must be back as well. That he punk might try forcing himself on her after finding out she's alive. What a shame I couldn't get rid of him in another sea. Zhuo Fan sighed and looked around. Where's Yu? I don't see her. You finally think about her. Shuang squinted at him. Sister Yu said she has something to do and won't be back to the clan for a while. Something? What can she do when she isn't even familiar with Sacred Domain? Zhuo Fan frowned, but gave up trying to figure out. He knew her character, and she should be fine. Then let's go back. She must have her own plans. Should we tell Demonic Emperor? Why bother? Zhuo Fan's eyes shone coldly. I've earned much from a Nether Sea and will use them to advance. I don't have time for anything else. When I come out, I'll settle the score with those geezers, Humph. The others nodded and looked ready to fight. After these calm years, Steward Zhuo is ready to strike the 8 emperors. 3 months later, Zhuo Fan was in a private room in the Luo clan's manor. Having entered at the minute he arrived, Luo Yunchang and the others were left hanging, their cordial mood gone. Danqing Shun and the oldies nodded. He must have gotten something from the Nether Sea. I should have went as well. Yeah, it must be something great by the looks of his hurry. They were envious. My, that's a supreme expert's domain for you, filled with riches. The kid is so biased, taking just 2 girls with him to hide his strength. We really missed out. The others nodded. Zhuo Fan ignored all the chatter coming from outside and set up a defensive array before sitting cross-legged on the bed with eyes closed to ponder all that happened in the Nether Sea, the Tyrant Emperor's fist, Zhu Yifan's fight, the Child Sovereign's movements, that Peak Saint's attack, and the Nether Sovereign's final warning. Each even flowed through his mind as his energy surged higher and higher. Yuan Qi flooded his meridians with astonishing speed, covering every nook and cranny hum. Buzzing came from Zhuo Fan's body as he released prismatic glows. The array had no way of stopping the lights, passing through them and coloring the heavens. What's that? The chatty group outside gasped, watching the sky shining in rainbow colors. Their cries soon died out as the light fell on them and provided warmth and comfort. Danqing Shun's heart thumped, his voice shaky. Please watch over me. I'm advancing. He rushed into his room and sat down at once to use the prismatic glow to reach the Emperor's stage. Curses, that's my line. Murong Lai was also frantic as he went to his room. I'm advancing too. I leave the guarding to you, brothers. You think we're any different? Let's leave guarding to whomever feels like it, 'cause I won't. Ouyang Ling Tian went as well. How sly, advancing by yourselves. What about us? Yeah, we're in the same boat. This is a truly rare chance we cannot miss. Yeah, let's just all advance then, and no one guards. All of the Luo clan in the city felt something from the prismatic glow above. Their strength soaring, none had time for anything else, whether patrolling or guarding, as they vanished into their rooms to close their eyes. The entire city of hundreds of thousands became quiet as a ghost town, with not even a breeze passing. What's going on? Bailey Jingtian looked at the astonishing scene with a smirk. Thunder Sword King, this is our chance. They're all gone, and Zhuo Fan has no one protecting him. Let's go in and kill him for our empire. Silence was his only answer. Bailey Jingtian looked around to find Bailey Yulei gone like the rest. You're also... Bailey Jingtian raged. As a sword star, Empire's sword kings, haven't we been tagging with Zhuo Fan for the chance to kill him? Humph, useless. I'll just have to do it myself. Bailey Jingtian stomped ahead. He only got to make 2 steps as his eyes glazed over under the prismatic light show. His rage faded and calm was restored. The grudge is fading, but why? I feel like cultivating, knowing that I'll advance if I do. I can't miss this chance. Bailey Jingtian plopped down then and there to meditate. The prismatic lights danced above over everyone's heads, enlightening them. None of the citizens missed this chance to cultivate boom. With a large explosion, a draconic cry sounded. Danxing Shun's dragon soul soared out and shone golden alongside a 300-meter-long sword. He actually formed his imperial marks so soon. His power surged wildly. Growing exponentially, he entered Emperor stage under the prismatic light, yet didn't stop boom. Following Danxing Shun were tens of other auras booming all over the town and unleashing their golden aura into the skies. Murong Lai and the others advanced, as well Luo Yunhai and the Luo clan's young guards reached the Spirit King stage. Luo Sifin and the juniors jumped 2 whole stages. To the Genesis stage, everyone was overjoyed and amazed. Even with the incredible spiritual energy of the sacred domain, wasn't this still too fast? The only explanation was the mystical prismatic light coming from Zhuo Fan's room. They knew it had to be incredible. Cultivating under such a light was paradise, so they kept going despite having advanced, for the multicolored lights called to them and whispered deep secrets of the world that made their yuan qi soar. Chapter 1239, Dragons Come Knocking. Chapter 1239, Dragons Come Knocking. Proofreader, Papatonks. Elder, up ahead is the Luo clan's base. Whoosh! A dozen people streaked the clear sky and landed, with a muscled man in his 30s leading them as he pointed in the direction of the prismatic glow. We receive word from Gambling Town that the clan is refining a sword from a dragon scale, is over there. The old man next to him gasped. What is that? Another elder with red hair frowned. In all my 32 millennia, I've never seen such an event anywhere in Sacred Domain. The whole world knows that any who refines a weapon with my race shall feel our wrath. But this clan just pranced around with their dragon sword without fear. Does someone have their back? Yeah. Another elder with black hair stepped forward, his eyes flashing. Something doesn't feel right. The Luo clan doesn't look like much, but does unusual things. Their location is also under some baffling phenomenon. Stay cautious. The others nodded. The muscled man sneered, then came over with a bow. Elders Bai Long, Qi Long, Hey Long, you're overreacting. Isn't that just a rainbow? I heard they have demonic Emperor Zhao Chen's protection. How is that a strong backing? Moreover, the most they could ever get to side with them are the 7 sacred mountains. But would those old guys dare mess in our affairs? We don't fear even 3 of those mountains working together. As for all 7, Bai Long pondered, it never hurts to play it safe. Humans are treacherous and cunning. What if it's the 7 sacred mountains' attempt to taunt us into waging war? Never forget their constant taunts 500,000 years ago over the Fountain of Youth, making our race suffer heavy casualties as we relinquished that precious area. We were lucky that our die-hard resolution scared them off, thinking we'd take them down with us, and didn't suffer further needless losses. For the same reason, we need to be extremely careful against the sudden clan taunting us out of nowhere. Remember the past. The others nodded, with a muscled man saying, should we test them? We'll have to reconsider if an expert is among them. Otherwise, I alone am more than enough to waste them. I don't fear even the 8 emperors, let alone this puny clan. A dragon's pride can't be tarnished. Those humans are looking down on us. The 3 elders nodded. The muscled man perked up and bowed before shooting forward. Before he even got close, the sudden boom scared him. A draconic cry announced the rise of a prismatic dragon as it unleashed a golden aura. The dragon split into 5, each with its own color. They circled in the sky and released black energy in the form of a hole. As the golden auras converged, The dragons intertwined their heads and tails to form the frame of a black mirror. This was Zhuo Fan's imperial mark. The heaven-devouring wraith mirror. The black mirror fell in Zhuo Fan's room and vanished, followed by the disappearance of the prismatic lights. Everyone else shot their eyes open, looking at the clear sky and sighing with disappointment. Where did the lights go? Couldn't it last a bit longer? We haven't had enough. After they checked their cultivation, their joy shot higher than the sorrow. All had grown by a large margin. Danxing Shun, Murong Lai, and the other oldies were now peak emperors. Even 8 emperors were nothing to them now as inheritors of the Sword Sovereign, and having gone through Zhuo Fan's 4 sovereign paths baptism, the 8 emperors were like children now. Even those chosen from the sacred mountains couldn't compare in foundation with them, for heaven's sake. I told you it was a rainbow. The muscled man calmed himself as he said, that was a human forming his imperial mark. Why did he have a dragon soul? Curses, the punk stole our dragon power to form his soul. How did he do it under our watch? The muscle man was puzzled, but then he shot at the city in rage. A mere human not only stole our dragon power, but even used us for a weapon. They must all die. His berserk roar caused the cheerful Danxing Shun and others to flinch. They focused on the muscled man charging into their city. Puny Luo clan, you have some nerve. I will obliterate you all. Peak Emperor power was unleashed, flooding the city with his bloodthirst. The Luo clan would have been hard-pressed against such a mighty foe for sure, 2 days ago, that is. But now, the Luo clan's spirit kings were peak emperors and emperor making a scene here. Nothing but a trifle. Where did this guy come from? He's got spunk. Danxing Shun whispered to the others. Murong Lai beamed, filled with battle spirit. With such a perfect test subject showing up, why not use him to hone our newfound emperor strength? Agreed. Everyone nodded with devious grins. Even Bailey Yule got excited. But first, form a line. We can't have anyone hog him. Like usual then, Murong Lai grinned at Li Jingtian. Luo clan's original venerables go first, then us, ha. Don't mind if we do, haha. Li Jingtian cupped his hands, filled with battle lust as he shot for the city limit. I'm your opponent. The muscle guy nodded. Peak Emperor good. I didn't think a tiny clan would have one. A shame you're a human. Us dragons are 10s of times stronger than you, humph. You're a dragon? Li Jingtian gasped, then grew thrilled at the challenge. Awesome. I can go all out then. Come again. They say dragons have the strongest bodies. I'm also a body cultivator, so let's dance. Li Jingtian laughed and shot for the muscle guy with a punch covered in black energy bam. A savage shockwave spread outward, causing the space to warp. Li Jingtian's punch landed in the guy's outstretched hand, unleashing a violent wind. His body shuddered under the mighty force. The muscle guy gasped. I didn't know humans could train their bodies to such a degree. A real shame, though, that you're just a human. No amount of training could ever help to win against dragons. Boom! The muscle man shook his hand and shot Li Jingtian back for a dozen steps. His eyes were filled with shock and thrill. Dragons are so powerful. Old Li, use your imperial mark. You're no beast, so don't try meeting one with just your body. We humans use martial arts to our advantage. A shout roused Li Jingtian from his frenzy. Qiu Yanhai. The others nodded. The muscle man mocked. Your friend's right. A mere human could never best dragons in raw power. That's why you humans are so prideful in the imperial mark. Dying before taking it out, I would send you off in tears. Ha ha ha. Those below are counting on you to protect them with the imperial mark. What the hell do you know? They're urging me, so I'd finish fast and they'll get a shot. Especially those sword kings. Once they get here, you won't stand a chance, even as a dragon. Those are the real monsters here. You're nothing but a freak of nature. Li Jingtian took a deep breath and made a sign. Using the imperial mark he just formed, he came to test himself. But this guy was actually waiting for him to show his best. Don't you know where you are? This is the Luo clan, home of monsters and devils. Those below can't wait to chew you up and spit you back out. Chapter 1240. Are they human? Chapter 1240. Are they human? Proofreader, Papatonks. Imperial mark, heaven-crushing black dragon. Squinting, Li Jingtian finished making signs and shouted. With a flash of golden, a huge black dragon coiled around an equally large seal high in the sky. Li Jingtian pointed, and with a draconic roar, the sea smashed towards the muscled guy. The space around it shook and warped from its power. The muscled guy widened at its incredible power and raised a growing arm. Bam! The arm of a peak emperor dragon slammed into the martial fanatic Li Jingtian, sending shockwaves on impact, yet none faltered back. The space was the one taking the brunt of their relentless power, with constant ripples flashing out the muscle guys. I twitched in shock. It amazed him how Li Jingtian had the strength to match his. It was said a human's imperial mark was unstoppable, just like a spiritual beast's tough body. He, however, was a dragon, and ending a fight with a human in a draw would only bring him disgrace. The muscle guy's face turned red crack. His body shook, and his eyes grew bigger as sweat dripped down. He strained as he pushed harder and sent the mark back. Li Jingtian shuddered and coughed blood. You win this round, but the next one is mine. Umph, you're not bad yourself. It's the first time a human of equal level broke my arm. He looked at his shaking right arm and said, Too bad there's no second round. I can still fight, even with a broken arm, but you've suffered a heavier wound, weakening your imperial mark and dooming your fate. With you gone, the Luo clan will have no expert defending it. Ha ha ha. Li Jingtian gave him a dumb look and flew down. I'm not the Luo clan's true defender. I just dropped by for a spar and not to die. Besides, there are plenty of others that can clobber you. There's just a matter of making sure those freaks don't kill you, so I can have my fill sparring with you. Li Jingtian turned to Qiu Yanhai. Your turn. Old Li, what's up with going all out in a spar? It's not about your wounds, but breaking his arm. Won't my spar be one-sided, without going all out even? Stop with the bragging. One hand is enough for him to take you on. Now go. Li Jingtian sighed. The muscle guy was baffled. There's another one stronger around? The Luo clan must be something else to have two of peak emperors. The muscle guy couldn't believe his ears, only accepting it when Qiu Yanhai flew before him. Qiu Yanhai smiled and bowed. After you. Umph, you must be dreaming thinking you can beat me with two peak emperors. Your only chance is to come at me together, instead of dying by challenging me alone. The muscle guy charged. It was clear the possibility of having both peak emperors ganging up on him had him on edge. He wanted to end this fast. It really was a quick spar. 3 minutes later, Qiu Yanhai huffed with a pale face and was bleeding from the mouth. He saluted. Dragons are indeed strong. I lost. The muscle guy's face twitched, downcast as he stared at his singed palm. Screw your loss. He's as strong as the first guy. Now my other arm is ruined. What the hell is up with the Luo clan? How did they get two experts at the level of 8 emperors? At least there isn't a third one showing up. Hey, who's next? Qiu Yanhai's question had his heart shivering. Whoosh. A figure in white flashed over Shui Qingjian. She glanced at his ruined hands and snapped at Qiu Yanhai. Wasn't this a spar? Why go all like Old Li? How am I to train against a handicapped adversary? I can't gauge my imperial mark like this. Sorry, Ani, it was in the heat of the moment. Qiu Yanhai gave a goony smile. Train? You're using me for a punching bag? The muscle guy noticed Shui Qingjian at peak emperor stage and cried out, Just how many emperors do you have? All of them here. Shui Qingjian pointed at the group below, and they all flew up. With dozens at peak power among the hundreds, the dreadful maelstrom of auras had the muscle guy's face twitching. Curses! Damn fakers! What are you doing siding with the 8 emperors at your level? You could just thrash them and take everything. That's why you challenged us. You have the power. But we've come prepared and won't fail. The muscle guy roared. The people started and saw his smug smile. Humph, no matter how many you are, you'll all die. I didn't come alone. There's 24 peak experts beside the 3 elders. Each of them is as strong as me. None of you will survive this. What? The group shouted. The muscle man smirked, scared. Awesome. More sparring partners. Ha ha. The group cheered in excitement and thrill of battle. The muscle guy was dumbstruck. Hey, have you lost it? Our elders are saints. We also have 24 peak emperors. What's there to laugh about? We're so excited since you came right as we became emperors to test ourselves. Ha ha ha. Moron Lai sighed. We thought of taking you with us to spar since you're a peak emperor stage dragon, since dragons are far stronger than humans and should meet our standards. Alas, look how you ended up after just 2 bouts. You're no training material at all. To test ourselves, we need saints. Of course we'd be excited with your elders coming over. But how do we split them? There's just 3 of them. Winesword Immortal posed a very good question, Dan Shun said. Dragons, saints can't be normal. We'll have to go 3 or 4 against one, so there's no need to take turns. The Sword Kings nodded. Leave the strongest to me for a while. The group turned to find Sword Child there as well. I'm Dad Sword and reached peak Emperor stage thanks to his inspiration. A couple of dragon saints aren't a problem to me. Just leave them to me when you find it too tough to go on. Their eyes twitched and gave him a nasty look. We won't give you the chance. Young Master can just watch from the sidelines. Stubborn fools. Sword Child turned his head away. The muscled guy had a dumb stare. Are these guys human? We came to destroy them, yet they take us for training partners? Are they that strong? The muscled guy's beliefs crumbled then and there. What's wrong with today's generation? Since when did humans become stronger than dragons? Whoosh! Dozens of figures appeared, with the 3 dragon elders and the lead elder by Long said. What happened? Did you meet an expert and call for help? The muscle guy's lips shook, raising his ruined arms and pointed at the hundreds of people in front. The elders gasped. Why are there so many emperors? It's like an 8 emperors faction. No, not even they have so many peak emperors. SSS. The elders shuddered, their spine tingling under the gaze of 10 people locking onto them like prey. What did we get ourselves into? Wait, since when did humans look at dragons like that? We're dragons saints too. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Proofreader, Papatonks. Pick your targets. Charge. Having long been ready, Moron Lai and the rest shouted with zeal, each after one dragon expert. The rest followed after them. The elders gasped. You didn't explain to them who we are? I did. The muscle guy shook his head. It's because of it they don't fear us, wanting to fight us instead. For crying out loud, what is wrong with them? These humans don't even respect us. We'll have to cull 100 and make an example of them. Elder Bai Ling roared, letting his hand drop at the incoming Luo tide, with him taking the lead to charge. Attack. These humans must have forgotten our might after so many years. Let them suffer for it. Draconic roars littered the sky as the 24 dragon experts followed him into battle boom. The savage shockwave shook the space as it spread from the impact. The 24 dragons were up against hundreds of Luo clansmen, with even elders facing 3 or 4 sword kings. This showed a clear contrast between the 2 races, with dragons tens of times stronger. The shock, however, came for those prideful dragons. Divine Dragon Sweep. Elder Bai Long unleashed a mighty palm. An image of a hundreds of meters long draconic tail lashing out appeared behind, leaving spatial distortions in its wake. Under such power, the landscape would change for thousands of miles, with the Luo clan's town flattened, decimating lash. Vaulting Dragon Cleave. Sundering Lightning. Moron Lai, Danxin Shun, and Bailey Yule intervened with their imperial mark made of their sword arts. The dragon tail broke down into nothing. Elder Bai Long shuddered back 5 steps and looked back in shock. It can't be. 3 peak human emperors blocked my attack. They're not your normal emperors, for sure. Elder Bai Long was grave, now understanding why these folk were so antagonistic. They were freaks. The other side faltered 5 steps as well, looking at the elder with thrill and astonishment. That's a dragon saint for you. They could only fight him together. It didn't matter, though, for in a spar, one had to go all out to make the most of it. This was the expert that could test their limits and unearth their potential for more. The trio's eyes burned with battle lust. He Long and Shi Long met their own match, looking just as dark. As for the other 20+ dragon emperors, they had to contend with normal Luo clan emperors, tens of them each. As the ardent fight went on, the proud dragons realized these humans weren't normal. They doubted they could even beat them at this point. The muscled guy who started it all sighed. What have we gotten ourselves into? This isn't just some normal human gathering. Their power is beyond human, close to that of spiritual beasts. The three elders were beyond mere dragon emperors, yet 3 to 4 humans could hold them back while other dragons couldn't. Ancient experts. Elder Bai Long fought with Dan Xingshun's group a few more times and turned grave Hei Long, and Qi Long nodded. The rest were dumbstruck, keeping away from their battles for now. The muscled guy with ruined arms flashed to the elder's side and asked, Elder Bai Long, what is this about ancient experts? In ancient times, there were humans that could fight sacred beasts and dragons. Among them were the 10 ancient sovereigns, who could surpass even the 5 sacred beasts. Bai Long spoke. All the cultivators under the 10 sovereigns had the power to fight us dragons. But after the bloody war, many perished. The strength of spiritual beasts and dragons is innate. We hadn't changed, while humans lost their roots. That's why humans today are weaker than spiritual beasts. Even if you take the strongest and loftiest of the 7 sacred mountains, they still can't. Hei Long said, they remind us of the fights with the ancient humans. It'll be hard to beat them if we keep holding back. Dragons, assume your true form. We're going all out. Dragon form? The dragons gasped. That was their true nature, meaning their power would be on another level. They were strong to begin with in human form, handling other equal stage human cultivators with relative ease. They only went full dragon when they had no choice, uncaring of the shame of having their bodies harmed. They were just too prideful to admit that the weak humans were worthy of seeing their true form since antiquity, around 500,000 years ago. The last time this happened was when the 7 sacred mountains came charging in. Now, what was going to happen again today, when they weren't even pushed back? Isn't this overestimating them a little? Elder Hei Long, I don't want to hear it. Since they have ancient expert strength, we'll fight them for real. Hei Long's eyes were firm, turning to the other elders. They say ancient dragons fought with humans using their true bodies. What do you think? The others nodded, agreed. The elders jumped out of the fight and into the skies. With a roar, their bodies glowed white and soon revealed themselves as 3 huge red, white, and black dragons with unspeakable aura. Their tails sent cutting winds under the fierce winds. The Luo clan town threatened to crumble. They're now tens of times stronger. Dan Xingshun gasped in shock. Fellas, this looks bad. It's no longer a spar now. 3 of us aren't enough to take even one. Murong Lai's face twitched, sweat trickling down his brow. Yeah, dragon saints are no pushovers. We have to stop them somehow before they ruin the town. We just got a foothold on sacred domain, but now it's about to be destroyed. They all gave grave nods. You should be proud of forcing us into our true form, Luo clan. But now it's over. The wounded muscled guy had a sinister grin of disdain. We once faced 1,000 saints with 100 true dragon saints, destroying a mountain. While only the elders remain, with the 24 dragon emperors, you're finished. A true dragon emperor is enough to face your saints. Ha ha ha. The muscle guy roared and turned into a 100-meter-long earth dragon. His 2 claws were wounded, but was still more than enough to handle the normal Luo emperors following his action. The rest of the dragons changed as well. The sky was now filled with huge dragons, ready to unleash destruction upon the world. Looking at the incoming apocalypse, the people's hearts sank, their brows locked, and their breathing heavy. Leave the dragon saints to me. Former sword kings, like you, should have no trouble dealing with the dragon emperors, or there'd be no point in you being here. A lazy voice sounded as slow steps approached. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Proofreader, Papatonks. Who? The black figure floated into the coming storm. Bai Long's eyes shone, and he swished his white tail at the heads of the humans below, like a scythe to reap their lives. Whoosh. The huge tail unleashed a terrible power, crushing the city's walls to dust. Dan Xingshun's group was grave, yet didn't dodge. Whoosh. A black light shot out of nowhere and met the tail. Bai Long felt his huge, an all-powerful tail, come to a halt from something beyond his control. He even felt pain from it. What is going on? Bai Long was shocked, watching his white scales fell down and blood spurted everywhere. Not just the sensitive dragons, but even the humans were overwhelmed by the scent of blood. The dragons gasped at Elder Bai's red tail. How did it get hurt? Who did that? Get out here now. Bai Long roared with bloodshot eyes. One strike had him bleeding. It was but a flesh wound, but that was a power neither of the ones below had. He couldn't believe the Luo clan had an even greater expert than these. And by the looks of his wound, he could kill dragon saints. Bai Long was grave, with the other two growing tense. Just what is the Luo clan? How many experts do they have? A light footstep sounded in the stillness, revealing a wicked grin, and on the face of an 8-year-old, "Ha ha ha, I'm Dad's sword. Cause trouble here, and you'll be leaving in pieces. Dragon saints sure are amazing, only getting your scales peeled when it should have killed you. That's one tough body." A child. Bai Long gaped. Did he shoot that sort of attack? A damn child harmed me? Is the Luo clan filled with one freakier monster than the next? Was it you who harmed me? Dragon saints are strong and renowned in the sacred domain. I guess with Dad away, I'm the only one in the Luo clan that can harm you guys. Got a problem with that? Sword Child gave a taunting smirk. Or do you believe that anyone here can hurt you now? What a bummer. Since anyone can kill you, are you worms or dragons? Ha ha ha. How dare you? Hei Long roared in fury, flicking his tail at Sword Child. Have a taste of this then. Feel free to dodge, but your town will be no more. Be buried with the rest of them. Who? A huge shadow came crashing down. Overshadowing the sun, Sword Child smiled and charged at Hei Long with his right hand shining black. Then why don't you try my power? Dragons and sacred beasts aren't the toughest in the world. I have the strongest body. Ha ha. Apocalyptic sword. Bam. The oversized black tail clashed with the tiny Sword Child in a glorious explosion. The shockwaves spread everywhere and warped the skies, with the dragons forced back under the pressure. What monster is he? How can a child take on Elder Hei Long's tail? Did he just say he's Dad's sword? Does that make his dad a god? You're saying the Luo clan's true expert hasn't come out yet? The dragons were shocked to the core. Have we rushed things by coming here now? How are we supposed to know there was such a mighty faction hiding here? Their shock didn't stop there, watching with bugged eyes as a black figure punched through the huge tail, bearing a wicked grin. Hei Long howled in pain and anger. Holy hell, he hurt another dragon saint, and this one's much worse. Oh, is the kid so strong? It's harrowing. Danqing Shun side grinned. Sword Child was something the sacred domain had never seen, a sovereign weapon. The limited cultivation was lacking against the dragon saint. Obvious from the shallow wound his sword strike left when it came to sharpness and hardness. He was unmatched even by sacred beasts, let alone some wiggling reptiles. Using his body as a blade, the bloody outcome was more than obvious no matter how hard one trained their hands. They couldn't break a nail. Danqing Shun's group sneered at the two wounded dragons. Dragons pride themselves on their toughest bodies. But look where that got them. Ha ha ha. Pa. Sword Child looked smug at his handiwork, but then a shadow loomed over him, and he found himself unable to move. A red dragon stared down at him, and clawed. Elder Qi Long took advantage of his lapse in judgment to grab him. Elder Qi Long smirked. Ha ha ha, brat, you're too cocky. Humans are tricky with their many and strong martial arts, but your bodies are frail. I don't know what art you pulled to hurt them, but I got you now. I need to just squeeze and you're paste. What's holding you? Sword Child taunted with a raised eyebrow. Few things can kill me in the world, but squeezing ain't one of them. The huge dragon, I twitched, and Qi Long raged. You got spunk, so allow me to share with you the feeling of having all your bones crushed. Qi Long squeezed hard. His claw hardly moved, even as he strained to make a fist. Something was stopping him from doing it. What the hell? Qi Long used 2 claws this time. To no avail. Sword Child rubbed his chin in a most condescending way. Old timer, any harder and you'll be breaking your knuckles. My bones are the toughest there is. Damn brat, don't get cocky. No matter how tough humans are, they can never reach a dragon's level. Qi Long couldn't accept it, squeezing with more strength. The rest just stared. Sword Child yawned, feeling no pain at all. He found it more amusing to give the straining dragon a taunting look after having enough of trying. Qilong huffed and relaxed his grip. Knowing how futile it all was, Sword Child's eyes shone with bloodlust. Qilong. Bai Long cried out. A black sword wave shot through the red claw and showered the skies in blood. Four large rough talons rumbled as they landed on the ground. Qilong wailed like a banshee. Sword Child flew up and laughed. I told you so, old-timer. Now you broke your fingers. Chapter 1243. The Real Monster. Chapter 1243. The Real Monster. Proofreader, Papatonks. Everyone gasped at this unbelievable sight, their hearts jumping from shock. The dragons felt fear as Sword Child's cold eyes snapped on them. What abomination is he? Elder Qilong's hardened claw ended up without 4 talons under his attack. It's nothing short of a fairy tale. You're saying the brat is tougher than a dragon saint? He can't be squished? Is he not human? He was not, so there was no point for you to even try. Danqing Shun's group knew this best. Sword Child's display still sent them reeling in shock. He's a chip off the old block for sure, using the same tactics and toying with the enemy. The dragon saints fell for the enemy's scheme and played to his rhythm instead of their own. Sword Child was an emperor, but had the body of a divine. The dragon saints could have just used their powers to wipe out his soul and be done with it without a hassle. This was where excessive pride in their draconic bodies got them. Thinking it infallible and suffering for it, Qilong kept howling in pain and fury. Looking at Sword Child with savagery, the other 2 elders were just as hateful. Looking at him for a sign of weakness, dragons. Attack together. Destroy the Luo clan. Give the city no quarter. Qilong roared, giving a bloody order. The rest howled and charged. Endless dragon breaths were spewed as they came down upon the humans. With no end in sight, Danqing Shun's group jumped to stop it. Clan guardians, destroy the enemy before they call for help. The Luo clan and the dragons were at war. The testing and training was over. There was no honor here, no mercy, only revenge for the ruined claw, for the heavy wounds the dragons could take on 10 easily, while the Luo clan outnumbered them 10-1. Danqing Shun and the other true experts could also take 1 dragon alone, boosting the Luo clan's morale in this war. Both sides were equally matched, with neither giving an inch. The 3 dragon saints grew grave from above. They came here ready for this, but even they did not expect to meet such strong opposition outside of facing the sacred mountains. The outcome of this war rested solely on their strongest from each side, the elders and the freaky child. Once we beat him, we could just mow down the rest of them. The same applies to the kid, killing our dragons like nothing. The fate of both sides rested on just 4 people. Bai Long and the elders flicked their tails and shot for Sword Child. Together, a spectator would think dragons have lost all their honor to gang up on a child. Aren't you 3 the elders on top of the dragon clan? You're ganging up on a frail boy? They couldn't care less, for this boy gave them a bloody lesson. Rather than wait for him to take them down one at a time, they would finish him then and there. Bam. Hei Long took the lead and hissed as he whipped his tail at Sword Child, sending him hurtling. Bai Long waited behind to claw him and sent him reeling in another direction. The intense shock of the blow got his body shaking, though he didn't care since it wouldn't hurt. Physical attacks were useless. The dragons still didn't get it after all this time. Qilong shot ahead of him and struck with savage fury, many times stronger than before, sending him flying again. Sword Child was treated like a ball, passed around between the 3 dragons thousands of times. A human would have been reduced to nothing ages ago, while Sword Child didn't even feel an itch, sneering at them after bouncing him around tens of thousands of times. The dragons grew tired and stopped. For crying out loud. What is this kid? We've been attacking him for so long, but can't even hurt him. Is he even human? Qilong panted hard, while the other 2 nodded. Sword Child snickered, drawing 2 fingers and cutting the air with them, letting out a whistling and metallic sound. Had enough. Old-timers, now it's my turn. Sword Child shot for Qilong. I took 4 talons last time, and now I'll have the entire claw. Ha ha ha. Qilong suffered once, and leaned out of the way and dodged with his tail. Swordchild's finger slashed a black sword wave and took some of his scales along with blood. Not bad. Didn't think you'd be so nimble with such a huge body. Swordchild taunted, slashing where Qi-Long dodged. A shame my sword isn't so easy to avoid. Whoosh! A sword wave shot from his finger, right for the huge dragon. Qi-Long shook in horror. While it wasn't Swordchild's direct attack, he still couldn't take it on. He might end up cut in half in this critical juncture. He couldn't dodge, and blocking was ill-advised. He took a deep breath and blew, releasing a scarlet glow. Draconic wave. Bam! The two attacks met, and with a resounding boom, they shook everything around. Qi-Long shuddered and looked grave, while Swordchild got pushed 10 feet back. Looking a little flushed, Bai Long lit up and cried, "Look, the kid got pushed back and seems to be in some pain. How come? We pounded him thousands of times already, and it didn't even scratch him." Hei Long frowned. Bai Long said, "I got it. His reaction is due to using our powers. It's not his body that reacted, but his soul. He has a tough body, beyond ours, but his soul is only that of an emperor, not so monstrous. Use soul attacks and he'll die." Right. We've gotten so used to dealing with humans with our bodies that we forgot about attacking his soul. Now that we found such an abominably tough opponent, we'll have to learn from them and use soul attacks, huh? Hei Long mocked. Qi-Long lit up as well and grinned. Swordchild frowned, his heart sinking as he inched away. Crud, the fools found me out. Not even 100 dragons could break my body, but my soul. Swordchild looked around, searching for Dan Xingshun or the others to join up and defend his soul. The 3 dragons found his weakness and instantly unleashed 3 red, black, and white glows at him. Draconic wave. Swordchild's eye twitched, and he dodged once and twice, only to find himself in front of the last. Blocking his retreat and forcing him to face it, he swung his fingers before the scarlet glow, blocking it. But that action shuddered his soul and messed with his tempo. The 3 glows combined just then and appeared once more. SSS. Swordchild gasped inside, with no chance to dodge. Blocking the combined attacks would leave him gravely wounded. As well, he was stuck, something the 3 huge dragons relished. The freak is done for. He 5 color dragons joined together formed a black mirror right in front of Swordchild. Dad. Swordchild cheered while the dragons' hearts sank. Dad, does that mean the real monster is here? Chapter 1244. Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirror. Chapter 1244. Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirror. Proofreader, Papatonks. Boom. The combined attack of the dragons landed on the mirror, making it shake a bit. Black energy then formed vortexes on its surface, sucking up the power into those abysses. This can't be. The 3 pairs of huge draconic eyes shuddered in disbelief at the weird mirror. Domain's sole imperial mark, it can devour anything. Even so, we unleashed our draconic waves, not something a mere imperial mark could absorb. Just how was that domain soul formed to be so tough and take it on? Hei Long cried out, staring at the black mirror with fear. The kid's father is a monster as well, defying all logic. Whoosh! Rumbling came from the mirror as black dragon claws emerged from the vortexes, shooting straight for the dragons in the sky crack. The dragons were still out of it, only waking up when there were 5 black claws on them. Those claws were hard as diamonds, making the dragon emperors unable to break out of them. What the hell are these things? Ack! The black dragon claws pulled one dragon into the mirror. He howled just before his end came, followed by many other dragons. The sky was filled with draconic howls 1 second, then eerie still the next, with the sun shining on the remaining 3 dragons. Saints, the dragons, and Dan Xingshun's group gasped. What kind of imperial mark did Zhuofan make? How is it that insane? We barely get to hold our own against one, yet he finishes all of them like nothing. This is the power of the pillar of the Luo clan. Clap! The dumbstruck humans and dragons snapped out at the sudden sound. They found out the dragons had black claws on them as well. Unable to break free, they got to experience for themselves the terror of their fellow dragons. The claws were strong, stronger than them, but they still couldn't get why a human would have such a deadly imperial mark. They didn't have the time to make sense of any of it, stuck in a dire situation. Despite being saints, these humans could actually kill them. Especially now that the true monster was here, the three dragons exchanged a glance and used all their power to fly around Clap. The black dragon claws that foiled dragon emperors stood no chance against the saints. Breaking down despite that, they chose to flee with a flick of their tail instead of pursuing the fight. Curses, we screwed up badly. Just you wait until we're back with a real army. Then we'll flatten you and rescue our people. Leaving so soon? I'll go stop them. Sword Child sneered. Sword Child, stop. I'll do it. A shout reached him. Whoosh. Zhua Fan flashed in the sky, and the heaven-devouring wraith mirror entered his body. Looking at the parting dragons, he had a nasty smirk. He vanished from his spot and appeared before the trio so fast. The dragons stammered from shock. What skill was that to catch up to a dragon saint's speed? Is he that monstrous? He won't be easy to deal with. But we're not about to just keel over just because you stopped us. Humph. Even the human saints have trouble against us. The three demons shared a look and flicked their tails as they charged. Fighting against an unknown like Zhua Fan could lead to annihilation. But a sudden charge was not something a human could stop. Either the sudden display of power caused the sky to sport black cracks from the three waves of light, while the world around was devastated by a fierce storm. Alas, they happened to meet not just anyone, but Zhua Fan, who inherited four sovereign paths. Raising his Qilin arm, Zhua Fan stood calmly, giving off an eerie vibe as the unleashed storm had no effect on him. Qilin Tyrant Fist. He faced the mighty attacks with but a fist. It flashed scarlet for a moment, then it exploded like a volcano boom. The world around them shook under the deafening explosion, with the sky now replaced by a gigantic black hole. The dragons felt their heads overcome by a searing pain as blood flowed down their faces. The huge bodies spun a dozen times before they could straighten and look at Zhua Fan's grin with fear. How is this possible? He's just a peak emperor and blocked us with a punch. Just how? They recalled Sword Child. This guy is the freak's father. Then he must be even worse. His son's body is an abomination, and so must the father. The dragons grew tense, their blood running cold. This is bad. We might not get out of this alive. The audience was bug-eyed. Just a punch stopped the three dragons. Steward Zhua is even more of a monster now. Damn it. Why are we even further behind him? Bailey Jingtian gnashed his teeth. Bailey Yulei chuckled and shook his head. Bali Yu entrusted him to look after Bailey Jingtian. Now, there was no point. Each time they broke through, Zhua Fan would always stand the highest. It got so bad that it became a gulf between them. Now we can't even touch him. You can rest easy now. Ha ha ha. Zhua Fan did not finish the dragons, cupping his hands. Dragon friends, it's been ages. You knew we'd come. Word travels fastest in Gambling Town. News of wielding a dragon-scale sacred weapon would one day reach the dragons, and that would mean you'd come here. You mean this was all a trap? By Long gasped, what do you want? What are you humans up to? Do you want the sacred mountains to wage war with us again? Zhua Fan had a vague smile. Seniors, we're unrelated to the sacred mountains. I only wish to invite you over for a few days and talk. Anything you wish to say, you can do it back in our Dragonlands. Bai Long shouted with unease. Zhua Fan sighed. I see you don't believe me. Sorry in advance for making it hard on you, elders. Shadow bind. Zhua Fan flashed next to them, and three shadows shot from Zhua Fan and wrapped around them, preventing them from moving. Chapter 1245 Talks. Chapter 1245 Talks. Proofreader, Papatonks. The black mirror remerged, and Zhua Fan waved the three dragons into it before vanishing. Dan Xing Shun sighed. Boy, I knew at the moment I saw you that you were a dragon among men. You come a long way, so far that you're making all of us old men amazed at your progress. Even the invincible sword didn't make us feel so far behind. The others nodded with envy. Old Dan, you're too kind. I was only lucky to receive senior's guidance. Zhua Fan smiled, pacifying their downcast moods. Elderly, did you find anything about what I asked? Li Jingtian bowed. Steward Jua, forgive me. This turned out to be hard. The area was erased of any clues. Erased? Yes. They say the sky fell 100 years ago, that not one survivor remained from the sudden destruction. Li Jingtian reported with doubt. The strange thing is, any disaster should at least have some survivors. Even if they did die in the end, some clues had to be left behind, or traces of what happened. Yet there was absolutely nothing. The only evidence people once lived there were the merchants that used to pass through fleeing for their lives upon the sudden change in the sky. Zhuo Fan frowned. It was done quite thoroughly. Steward Zhuo, should I continue? No, I don't think there's anything else to find. Zhuo Fan sighed. What cities are Yilin, Young Sanzi, and Xiao are guarding? Call them over and send someone else instead. Yes. Li Jingtian bowed and left. Zhuo Fan waved for the others to disperse while he returned to his room. He was an emperor now, but he still needed to ponder the 4 sovereign paths. The strong dragons forced him out ahead of time a month later. Li Jingtian shouted from beyond his door, Steward Zhuo, Yilin, Young Master San, and Young Miss Xiao are waiting in the hall. I'll be right there. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone as he opened them. He walked into the hall, and the 3 people there greeted Father, Elder Brother. There's no need for courtesy, just sit. Zhuo Fan smiled. How was it? Was it nice and easy ruling over a city? The trio sneered, with Yilin beginning. Elder Brother, there's nothing more boring for us than playing as city lords. We might as well be lords over in the mortal domain instead of coming to the sacred domain with you. Why you've been working behind our backs lately? What's wrong? Zhuo Fan asked. Young Sanzi mocked. Father, we've been away for so long that only after returning did we find out that those old codgers advanced. We heard you're the cause behind it. Can't you let us enjoy it too? They're all emperors now, having the same strength as we have. Now we fell behind. Who are we to blame for that? Yeah, it's not fair leaving us out of such a grand occasion. Yilin huffed in anger. Zhuo Fan sighed. Take it easy. That was an accident. I got 4 sovereign legacies and had to enter seclusion. How was I supposed to know the sovereign paths would light the sky and help not just me, but the whole Luo clan in advancing? You can't expect me to know that. Young Sanzi, you're also sacred beasts, making the insight ineffective. Your bloodline is the most important, so why nag me over this? We just think it's unfair for Yilin. Young Sanzi rolled his eyes and Xiao sulked. Yilin nodded. Elder Brother, you have to make it up for me. Let me enjoy the grand owl lights as well. It's not up to me. The paths aren't mine. I can't control it. Zhuo Fan shrugged, but chuckled at Yilin's downcast gaze. But I can make it up to you in another way to catch up to those guys in no time. A cultivation shortcut. What is it? The 3 perked up. Zhuo Fan grinned, and as a black energy streaked around, it left behind 24 figures slumped on the ground. The trio looked oddly at them. Zhuo Fan smiled. Dragon friends, let us talk. How may I call you? Dragons? Zhuo Fan put on a genial smile, bowing. Senior, we have no bad intention towards dragons. Quite the opposite. We're both on the same side. Same side. They all flinched in doubt. We're dragons and you're humans. How's that the same side? Stop playing with us. Zhuo Fan pointed. Yilin, tell them about your master. Dragon seniors, my master is one of the ancient 5 great sacred beasts, decimating dragon ancestor. Yilin bowed with nothing but respect. The dragons gasped. How can that be? Our ancestor fell in ancient times. Yilin, show them. Zhuo Fan waved. Yilin lifted a finger, and a golden fire burst out of it. The elders felt the familiar energy and cried out, yes, it's dragon ancestors decimating golden flame. It's the same fire from our dragon lands. How can you? Elder, did they steal as well? The wounded muscled guy added. The elders hesitated. Yilin spoke with pride. Master told me sacred beast powers can destroy the world. They can only be imparted, lest one dares be destroyed instead. Stealing? I know that dragon lands hold the decimating golden flame as well, but did any of you train in it? Oh, by long side. Yes, Elder Yun has managed to train in ancestors' golden fire, but 2 years later the flames consumed him. There's no surviving it unless the ancestor himself bestows it, even to dragons. Then he's truly dragon ancestor successor? They were all baffled by this development. Zhuofan pointed at young Sanzi and Xiaoer. They're Xiaoer and Thunder Phoenix's successors as well, true sacred beasts and not humans. Dragon ancestor even trained them. Zhuofan gave them a look, and the two released their auras. A savage red aura covered the city, while purple lightning crackled in the sky. This left them in an even bigger shock. They could feel a power like no other forcing them into submission from the two. Such pressure made their limbs soft and blocked their resistance. Sacred beasts. The elders were beyond thrilled, bowing with the rest of the dragons. They say the 5 great sacred beasts fought with the 10 sovereigns. I can't believe there would be successors. The day for our sacred beasts rises nigh. Ha ha. The others cheered. The 7 sacred mountains had pushed the dragons around for too long. Once the 2 sacred beasts matured, they would level them. Zhuofan's face twitched. Dragon seniors, it's too soon to rejoice. What's the problem? We now have sacred beasts, and the time of spiritual beasts is just around the corner. Yes, you have sacred beasts, but humans have sovereigns. Sovereigns? Bai Long said, didn't they all die? Zhuofan rolled his eyes and sneered. Who told you that? Couldn't they just hide? Anyway, I already met 5 of them. 4 in sacred domain and 1 in mortal domain. Also, besides these 2 young sacred beasts, the other 3 are still trapped. Attacking humanity doesn't make sense. You'll only let the sovereign see you and ruin your efforts. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Proofreader, Papatonks. The dragons froze in place, with Bai Long shaking. Say what? The sovereigns are still alive? That means humans aren't finished yet. I can't claim all 10 are around, but there's still enough of them. Zhuofan snickered. Their faces twitched with Bai Long sighing. Just who was it that spread the word the 10 sovereigns and the sacred beasts fell? Aren't they still alive here and now? You also mentioned that the other 3 sacred beasts are trapped. Our ancestor. Yes, he's trapped in a place called the mortal domain. Zhuofan spoke gravely. You can tell that we have dragon souls. To form it, dragon power is needed. There's no way for humans to steal it when you're guarding it with vehemence. With dragon ancestor in the mortal domain, only by gathering earth dragon souls to draw out the dragon power will it work. Since he's your primogenitor, drawing dragon power shouldn't be hard. The others nodded. I see. So you all came from the mortal domain? Is dragon ancestor all right? How do we save him? People, he is very much safe. Zhuofan appeased. He can't go out just yet and send us ahead to sacred domain. Yes, he can't break the mortal domain's barrier, but it's quite easy to break his cell. He won't do it because of one man. The creator of mortal domain, the heavenly sovereign. Zhuofan's eyes shone. Bai Long cried out, the top sovereign? He made the mortal domain? It was meant as a prison, to confine the sacred beasts. The heavenly sovereign hasn't done anything to them all these years, making his situation unknown. That's why Dragon Ancestor had us go ahead and scout the place for his trail. If the heavenly sovereign is weakened, it'll be the best chance to strike. Also, we've made preparations in the sacred domain to help all of them escape the mortal domain. Then your Dragon Ancestor's envoy, here to help them. Bai Long was excited. Zhuofan nodded without shame. Yes, this is Sir's intent. To wait or strike true. That's why I'm saying we're on the same side. Dragon Ancestor relies on us in the mortal domain and relies on you in the sacred domain. Will you help us? Of course. Anything for Dragon Ancestor. Bai Long roared. The others joining him in standing tall. It was his life's greatest honor to lay his life for Dragon Ancestor. Yilin's sighed. They might look like humans, but they're as simple as spiritual beasts where it counts. Dragon Ancestor has no trouble getting out and coming to sacred domain, but this bro of mine has misled them. He stand for the humans in the end anyhow, not wanting for the sacred beasts to reign once more. If it turned out that the heavenly sovereign was their common enemy, they would return. It all came down to Dragon Ancestor's words. If they could be trusted, Zhua Fan offered a hand with a smile. Do we team up? We're all doing this for Dragon Ancestor. That makes us family. Huh. Bai Long shook Zhua Fan's hand hard. We will do our all to go with your plan to save Dragon Ancestor. How may I call you? Luo Clan Steward, Zhua Fan. Dragon Clan's Elder, Bai Long. Bai Long grinned and patted his chest. You have an impressive body for a human. How did you train? At Dragon Ancestor's favor, he offered me a scale and reforged my body in the golden flames. No wonder. Bai Long believed him more. With Dragon Ancestor coming, it was a reason to celebrate after pleasantries. Zhua Fan pointed at his people. Our investigation is to thwart the Heavenly Sovereign, but first we'll need more strength. I ask Elder Bai to take these 3 to the Dragonlands and teach them. They will act as representatives of our cooperation and to also gather more men. They are 2 sacred beasts and Dragon Ancestor's disciple. They have great authority among the sacred beasts. Of course, Qilin is the head of beasts. Thunder Phoenix and Kuanpeng oversee the north and south birds. Cao rules the seas, and Dragon Ancestor created his race. Most of all the spiritual beasts came from them, and they were once a force to be reckoned with in the sacred domain. Bai Long sighed. Ever since the 5 sacred beasts fell, us dragons were the only ones still putting up a fight against humans, with the birds and beasts scattering. This time is different. With the 2 of them calling them, attacking the 7 sacred mountains will be nothing. Zhua Fan nodded with a smile. Great, but let's be subtle about it and not let them catch wind of this. The Dragonlands are vital in the sacred domain, with many eyes on them. That's why we didn't come knocking the moment we got here, attracting the enemy's attention. We thus thought of drawing you out to talk. The sacred weapon from a dragon scale comes from Senior Kuanpeng. He must have forged it from a deceased dragon. I ask for your forgiveness. It's fine. We're not petty to mind trifles. It's all for Dragon Ancestor. The dragons didn't mind it. It's unknown when Qilin and Thunder Phoenix will mature, but a war is knocking, and we need all the sacred beasts. Is there a way for them to grow faster among spiritual beasts? Well, Bai Long hesitated. We are the only spiritual beasts able to take human form, and that is because of our precious land, Dragonizing Pool. In the ancient past, when humans and spiritual beasts were at peace, Dragon Ancestor and Shadow Sovereign made it. It contains the essence of Dragon Ancestor and the core of Shadow Sovereign's path. We are able to find human reflections in its waters, using its power to turn human. Our own strength is greatly improved as well. Sacred beasts can turn human by themselves, but if they can go through the Dragonizing Pool, taking in Dragon Ancestor's power, it will deepen their form. The Shadow Sovereign's path is truly intricate, not only dividing people into flesh and soul, but shadows as well. By bringing out the power of their shadow, they can maximize their potential. Dragonizing Pool is a true masterpiece of cooperation between a sovereign and sacred beast. Zhua Fan nodded and rejoiced inside. Great. Yilin, you guys got your wish, receiving a dragon's favor to make up for your weakness. The trio nodded with eagerness. Elder Bai, what of the Fountain of Youth? One dragon spoke. Zhua Fan turned to him. Fountain of Youth. Yes. Bai Long wore a heavy frown. The Fountain of Youth had been passed down in ancient times by its creator, the Child Sovereign. Those that bathe in its waters will remain young and strong for all their lives, even in seniority. The Fountain of Youth helps one's heart as well, shedding away all worries and attaining inner peace. When humans cultivate in the fountain, their hearts will not be plagued by any negative emotions, heightening their insight towards a sovereign path to an incredible degree. I believe that by taking the young sacred beasts there, they would reach their peak even faster. Zhua Fan laughed. Not just them, but us as well. But will the dragons share it with us? Ha ha ha. Steward Zhua, you jest. The Fountain of Youth has long since left our hands. What's there to share? Wah, 500,000 years ago, the 7 sacred mountains stole it from us. Bai Long sighed. It is now locked in the 7 sacred mountains, with only their most important people going in. Each sacred mountain takes up duty to protect it every year. There's no way for us to enter. But now we have the two young masters, and we can amass troops to raid the 7 sacred mountains, taking back the fountain of youth. Nodding, Zhuofan's eyes burned with battle lust. No matter where the heavenly sovereign is right now, we shall take the 7 sacred mountains first. Please return and be ready. I will work for my end. My thoughts exactly, Steward Zhuo. Ha! The elders laughed and cupped their hands. They would finally get revenge on the 7 sacred mountains after all these years of torment. They couldn't beat all 7 mountains. But with the sacred beasts calling the other spiritual beasts, the mountains wouldn't stand a chance. Zhuo Fan talked some more before sending them away. Yilin's group going as well. Only Qilong's wounds were a bit problematic, but Zhuo Fan had understanding of the Shadow Sovereign's path, and using reflection and shadows, he left all of them speechless as he performed miracles. He really is Dragon Ancestor's envoy. Zhuo Fan eased up with him gone, having found backing in the sacred domain at long last. He could go up against the 8 emperors without worry of other powers blocking him, not even the 7 sacred mountains. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Proofreader, Papatonks. Demonic Emperor Sir, Steward Zhuo, is seeking an audience. What did you say? In Devil Mountain's large and glorious hall, a man in black kneeled before the stunned Zhao Chun. After hearing it a 3rd time, he reacted. That's not possible. Didn't he die in the Nether Sea? How show him in already? Yes. Zhuo Fan walked it with a wide smile, bowing. Demonic Emperor Sir, have you been well? Steward Zhuo, you're still alive. Zhao Chun laughed and patted his shoulder. Great, my aid has come back to me. You have no idea how pained I was seeing you crushed. Nights have been hard. The memory is still fresh. Zhuo Fan sneered inside, but only showed a smile. You honor me, sir. Go on. Tell me, how did you get out? Zhao Chen's eyes grew suspicious. Zhuo Fan made an excuse. The Nether Sovereign has been an almighty being since ancient times, but he doesn't waste time on nobodies. Everything was but a test. As long as we didn't fear death, he'd let us go. A blessing in disguise. Zhao Chun sighed, then stuttered. Why is your cultivation at the 3rd layer of Qi condensation? Steward Zhuo? It was bad enough with only a bone-tempering cultivation, yet now you regressed? Zhuo Fan's regression was a joyous occasion. All thanks to understanding the sovereign paths and his broadened mentality. Zhuo Fan sighed. I had the fortune of passing the Nether Sovereign's trials through a fluke, but as I was so weak, the Nether energy corroded my cultivation. It must have been so hard on you, Steward Zhuo. Zhao Chun sighed. But since the Nether Sovereign let you go, he must have admired your talent. Is there no way of recovering from this? Zhuo Fan caught his meaning, fishing for anything that Zhuo Fan might have gotten from the Nether Sea, and wanted to get a bite himself. He finally got to what Zhuo Fan wanted, egging him on. Sir, it's insightful to find out that the Nether Sovereign did give me a cultivation method right at the end. What is it? Zhuo Fan revealed a jade slip. The Nether script provided critical aid when my cultivation regressed. It says it can speed up cultivation and should recover my original level in 3 months. Cultivating further, it would be even faster. In 10 years, I'm sure to make some waves. So magical. Zhao Chun snatched the jade slip by reflex, uncaring that this was another's lifeline. He was no different from a thief. This was the attraction of a sovereign's items. With the whole world lusting after them, Zhuo Fan knew this all too well. Using it as bait, make another's cultivation efforts your own. Absorb it within you. Zhao Chun gasped. The sovereign's cultivation method is incredible. It can even do this? Yes. How else would you get instant results? Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan said, It's a pity my cultivation is too low and I can't take on much. I could only absorb 1 Qi condensation cultivator a day. I can't have anyone else know as well, lest I earn public anger. Sir has to be careful. Zhao Chun was too thrilled to care. Yeah, very careful, huh? Why would you show me such a dangerous thing? Aren't you afraid I would steal it and silence you? Steward Zhuo, you could never make such a basic mistake. Zhou Fan stared hard at him. He was obsessed with a new cultivation method, but not enough to rob him of his mind. Zhou Fan nodded. Sir is right. The cultivation art isn't a danger to just everyone, but to yourself as well. That's why I wish to share it. I don't need many resources now, but with time the demand will rise as soon as I grow in strength. I could never reveal my new strength, so I need Sir's help. Makes sense. Zhao Chan squinted at the jade slip. He knew exactly what resources Zhou Fan needed, and that this cultivation method would incite hatred from everyone at the same time. The lure of power was too much for Summer Bear. A swift rise was impossible by common means, only through this art. No one wants to part with anything that comes from a sovereign's domain. Tracing the jade slip, Zhao Chen muttered, staring hard at Zhou Fan. Steward Zhou is right about one thing. Training in this art, while avoiding suspicion, will only work if you have me covering for you. But now that I have it, why should I help you? The less who know about this, the better. Zhao Chan exploded with power, filled with bloodthirst, and ready to silence Zhou Fan. Zhou Fan said casually, Demonic Emperor, sir, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And why not? Sir, you need far more resources than me. How many would you procure by yourself? You'll still need someone to help you out. That means letting someone know about this. Can you guarantee they won't sell you out? Zhao Chan furrowed his brow. His bloodlust deflated. Zhou Fan smiled. If Sir is willing to trust me, I will help Sir in this aspect, training with Sir and becoming your accomplice. Exposing it will harm me as well, so we need to work together. Why then would Sir kill such a loyal helper and risk taking another that might betray you at any time? Steward Zhou. Zhao Chen's eyes shook and sighed. You've thought of everything. I have no reason to strike you. Guard. Sir. A man in black rushed inside and bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir. What are your orders? Everything, my domain and Devil Mountain, are for Steward Zhou to manage. His word is mine. Let everyone know. The guy flinched. Isn't that the same as making him the Demonic Emperor? All he is missing is a title. What if he goes for a takeover? If Zhou Fan's word is Demonic Emperors, what are you going to do, sir? Zhao Chun barked. I'm entering seclusion. Got that? Let Steward Zhou handle everything in my stead in the meantime. Oh, I see. Yes. The man rushed to carry his orders. Zhao Chun turned a snicker to Zhou Fan. Steward Zhou, all my resources are yours. Everything in my domain is at your fingertips. We are truly in the same boat. It'll be bad for both of us to let this leak out. Be careful and at least don't be found out too soon. Sir, I also train with it. I won't let anyone call me a waste 30 years later. Ha ha ha. Zhou Fan cackled. Zhao Chun had a vile grin. Steward Zhou, no one says that. You're already frightening with your courage and guile, but you'll be a force to be reckoned with once you have power. Maybe then I'll even be afraid of you. You're too kind, sir. Zhou Fan bowed. Zhao Chun gave him a look, then laughed as he left. Zhou Fan is sharp to snatch people's weaknesses. Even so, once I get stronger, I won't have to fear any saint and can remove the punk and the danger. But I still need his skills for now. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Proofreader, Papatonks. Excited to cultivate, Zhao Chan called for a few people on Devil Mountain to enter his chambers, only for them to scream in horrible agony as they died. Zhou Fan sneered from the outside, leaving for his own matters. Once he got out of the whole of Devil Mountain kneeled with utter respect. Greetings, steward, endless fortunes, and everlasting life. In just a few minutes, Devil Mountain knew Zhou Fan had become the Demonic Emperor's representative. Promoted from the head of the 12 demon guards into the crown prince, everyone conformed with this change. Showering with flatteries, Zhou Fan beamed. One moment was all it took to lose everything, but I spent a century to gain it all back. Ha ha. Zhou Fan shook his head, flicking his hand. Every town and city within the Demonic Emperor's domain is to be ready for battle. In 3 months, we will go to war. Yes, sir. The huge crowd roared after Zhou Fan took power. All the cities under the Demonic Emperor had a change in management. The Luo clan's high officials were sent to rule them. With their many experts, the Luo clan gained swift control of every inch of Zhao Chen's lands. With the latter, none the wiser the demonic emperor had many city lords in the early to late emperor stage. But the Luo clan had scores of them, with a dozen even possessing obscene strength for their level. A bit of flexing and smashing was all they needed to establish their rule. 3 months. That was how long Zhuo Fan took to usurp all power in the demonic emperor's domain. Zhao Chen would have a hard time getting everything back. Zhuo Fan's plan to take over Zhao Chen's forces from the inside was achieved. Zhao Chen would surely shed tears if he knew. Alas, ignorance is bliss. Oblivious to the Luo clan's true power, otherwise he would never have given so much power to Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, we've taken everything from Zhao Chen and can remove him. No one will raise a fuss. Li Jingtian bowed to Zhuo Fan in a hall, reporting the last 3 months' activities. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone, smiling. Not yet, he still has uses. Did you send him cultivation resources? I have, but he demands more and more from you. So eager for quick gains, to drain them, humph. Zhuo Fan muttered, it's almost time. March on the Wraith Emperor and the Falcon Emperor's unmanned lands. We will challenge them this time and destroy them. Everyone bowed. Yes, sir. News of war spread like lightning throughout the sacred domain. Under Zhuo Fan's command, the demonic emperor's army stormed the 2 emperors' lands. They stood no chance, with 10 cities falling in 3 days. Butchering all people in their path, the demonic emperor's army was ruthless and terrifying. Damn you, Zhao Chen. Bam! The Falcon Emperor slammed a table. It's only been a couple days of peace, and now another war starts? The punk was vicious last time as well, pushing us to fight the enchanting empress and sword emperor to wear each other out. We had no time to recover, and he's coming for us again. The Wraith Emperor frowned hard. We can deal with his treachery, but I fear there's someone even more cunning making things harder. Who? The Falcon Emperor gave him a look and exclaimed, You mean his new right hand, Zhuo Fan? The Wraith Emperor sighed. Falcon Emperor, have you noticed how despite Zhao Chen's cunning, he was crude and easy to anger? Now though, looking at the previous war and the current one, each step is taken with precise calculations from someone. It's like we're merely puppets dancing to his tune. Why do you say that? Think for a second. Why would the demonic emperor attack us both? Isn't it because he saved his strength last time? And how else did he do it if not by inviting the enchanting empress and sword emperor to fight for him? The 8 emperors have always been smart not to get involved in pointless affairs. But why did they join regardless? Who brought them? Zhuo Fan. The Falcon Emperor nodded. He didn't look like much when I saw him as we greeted the saints, but Zhao Chen has always kept him around. He has to be good at something. The Wraith Emperor continued, Yeah, he made a mess of things in the demonic emperor's stead, forcing both of our sides to lose. This time he's sending troops. I heard that the demonic emperor is in seclusion and gave all power to Zhuo Fan. It means the war was Zhuo Fan's idea and not his master. The Falcon Emperor's beard shook as he slammed the table. He got some nerve, waging an 8 emperors war whenever he wants. The Wraith Emperor sighed. He really is reckless, for not even the demonic emperor would do this. There's no way an aide would do this. It's like he's the real demonic emperor. The Falcon Emperor gave him a long look and nodded. Yes, the only thing the punk is missing to step on the big stage is strength. Should we just remove him? The Wraith Emperor nodded with a nasty smirk. In a world of strength, being weak meant you were nobody, for anyone could just squash you. Even if you're great at everything else, haha. Before a room on Devil Mountain, Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, I brought what you requested. Rumble. The stone door cracked open after a series of heavy sounds. Then Zhuo Fan stepped in. He grinned at the familiar room as the door closed behind him. A man wrapped in thick black energy sat in center, with a fervent gaze, that of a demented person after 3 months of cultivating. His aura took a darker and foul air, giving him a sinister vibe, like that of an abomination on the prowl for man flesh. He should be close to going mad at this rate. Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir. Zip it and give me the ingredients. Where are they? Zhao Chen barked. exposing an excited grin, like that of a beast in a flash of azure. Hundreds of people appeared. Unconscious, Zhao Chun said. So little? That's only 532. Where are the rest? Did you use them? You jest, sir. I can only take one a day at most. Why then? Sir, so many people missing is bound to raise suspicions, especially when Sir requires high-quality materials. Zhuo Fan smiled. Now that we're at war with the Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor, it will work as a good cover for any missing people. I'm slaughtering every city I come across, sending everyone there for Sir's cultivation. Zhao Chen nodded. Good, very good. We're at war? Why, yes, so that we get even more ingredients. War is the best way to fool everyone. Please don't blame me for going ahead with this. Zhuo Fan snickered. Zhao Chun squinted, nodding after a pause. It's fine. Nothing matters, so long as you supply me with ingredients. Zhao Chun activated his cultivation method, and a dreadful black energy spilled over the people. It wrapped around them before returning over to him, leaving the people to crumble to dust. Zhuo Fan smiled as he left. Idiot, didn't you always want 9 Serenity's secret records? Now you're training in its core, teaching demon transformation art. Though I did leave one part out. Renounce your old art before training this one. The previous cultivation method would conflict with demon transformation art, and you'll be unable to grasp its essence, that all paths have the same destination. You're too rash in cultivating, taking so many lives and others' cultivation without even considering if there's a limit. It's only a matter of time before you suffer for your greed. That's why I didn't impart it to you back then. Now though, haha, have your fill. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Proofreader, Papatonks. Zhao Chun was enveloped in black energy, his mind intoxicated and hazy. He could not see any issues with it because the power was just too strong, giving him a false feeling of control over the entire world as it grew thicker and thicker. Promising him sainthood, Zhuo Fan sensed his scattered and wild aura. The increase was only in quantity and not quality. Blocking any chance of becoming a Saint. Zhuo Fan shook his head as he looked at the closed stone door. Steward Zhuo, the saint wants to meet you again. Li Jingtian had been waiting outside to give him a jade slip. Zhuo Fan read it. Meeting? Saint sure are free, asking to see me right as I'm at war. Ugh, that damn He Xiaofeng again, staying in Ruby Cloud Sect still. Bam! Zhuo Fan crushed the jade slip to dust in anger. Bastard, he's after Qingqing again. Steward Zhuo, will you go? Of course. The least I can do is show a saint proper respect. Show respect? Steward Zhuo dealt with dragon saints like nothing. Crushing an entitled saint brat should be as easy as snapping your fingers. Ha! Jingtian raised an eyebrow. Zhuo Fan smirked. Right you are, I have nothing to fear from the likes of He Xiaofeng, but I need to consider the bigger picture and lay low for now. Why do you say that? He Xiaofeng is an early saint, nobody important, but he has the 6th sacred mountain behind him. We've yet to hear any word from the dragons. Even with them joining us, it'll take time to gather all the spiritual beasts. We need to bide our time. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. The 8 emperors aren't united. Being hostile to the sacred mountains now will surround us with enemies. 8 emperors? Li Jingtian jerked. What of it? Every Luo clan elder leading a team could mow them down. Won't that reveal us to the saints as well? Tapping his head, Zhuo Fan smiled. It will also scare them, turning from being pedantic to stooping to any low and retaliating against us. To resist the enemy, we need to secure our lands. Don't ever forget the lesson of the Sword Star Empire and Bailey Jingwei. By waging war with the sacred mountains, the 8 emperors would be sure to strike back. We have to make our land strong as iron to avoid any problems. Li Jingtian nodded. Steward Zhuo is thorough in the end. Then we'll take the 8 emperors' lands before anything. Yeah, we'll take their lands without them noticing our intentions and plan for it. Haha. Zhuo Fan snickered at the door behind him and left with Li Jingtian. Disciple, you betrayed your master and now you'll become bait, drawing everyone in. Whoosh. A month later, 3 people darted beneath the sun as they landed in a forest. Zhuo Fan, Li Jingtian, and Xiao Yanhai looked at the ruby cloud sect's dazzling entrance. Zhuo Fan said, "I'll go pay my respects and keep the saint and the hag busy while you stick to the plan. The rest are nothing." Understood. The two bowed. Zhuo Fan walked in, soon blocked by a few familiar figures. "Head senior sister, it's been a while. How have you been?" "You don't get to call me that." "Humph." Fong Min glared at him. Where's your guard?" Zhuo Fan shrugged. "Look at what you're saying. Do you think there's no one guarding me with my current status? They're only hiding in shadows. Should I call them out? They may not be hundreds, but 180 there should be, each tough in their own right. I have no fear against some early spirit kings." "TCH, you're quite the show-off for a useless demonic emperor dog." "You're wrong about that. Even dogs differ among each other. I act in demonic emperor's stead. Can you say the same? While I'm a purebred prize poodle, you're just a fleeting mongrel. Haha. You?" Fong Min grimaced in anger, wanting to kill him then and there. Zhuo Fan taunted further. "I came to your sect at the saint's invitation. Touch me in any way, and not even your master can protect you." Fong Min shuddered and panted, straining to quell her rage. "After you." "That's better. You're only shaming the enchanting empress by failing to receive guests." Zhuo Fan snickered at their furious glares. "Where's Qingcheng anyway? Why don't I see her?" Fong Min got her chance to strike back. "You'll never get to see her again." "Why do you say that?" Zhuo Fan's heart tensed. Fong Min mocked. "Junior's sister has been promised to the saint, but the obstinate girl doesn't know what's good for her and refused. She even tried leaving, but Master locked her up on the snow peak for the time when the saint takes her away. So you won't see Junior's sister ever again once she goes to the sacred mountains." Haha. Zhuo Fan nodded, having taken this scenario into account, and looked back. Li Jingtian and Xiao Yanhai gave him a signal. Zhuo Fan, relax. Zhuo Fan taunted Fong Min, so she would let Chu Qingqing's situation slip. The chick was harsh but not too bright though, making it extra easy for him to deal with her. A few slick words got her spill all of the sect's secrets. The enchanting empress has good taste in disciples. Zhuo Fan smirked, approving of Fong Min, who gave him an odd look. "What's with him? I taunted him with Qingcheng, yet he doesn't care." "Head senior sister," Zhuo Fan said, "why are you so happy that Qingcheng is being taken to the sacred mountains? That place is a cultivator's dreamland. As I understand, you should be jealous and stewing in envy from not being picked instead of that dumb girl. What does she have that I don't? Looking at looks, figure, cultivation, and, you're probably on par, no? Ha ha ha. No wonder there are no men around." PFF. The other disciples giggled with red faces. Fong Min glared and gnashed her teeth, cutting their joy short. "You're right." Fong Min sighed. "Chu Qingcheng has never been stronger than me. Ever, but Master always spoiled her, giving her everything. The saint also picked her, not even giving me a second glance. Am I so bad? Is she that much better? I don't think so. You agree to? Then why do you all go after her? Objectively speaking, you're better in every way but one." "Which one?" "Birth." Zhuo Fan's eyes shone because she was and still is Qingcheng. Her birth made him protect her without fail. It was also her birth, having a sovereign path that made the enchanting empress and saint value her immensely. You could never catch up to her with such a circumstance. Fong Min didn't get it. Birth? Isn't she just an orphan? What's so special about her? Master just took her in, is all. Very special indeed. Zhuo Fan was grave. Let me be frank with you. You can never match her background, not even your master. Do you believe me when I tell you that she can make He Xiaofeng destroy Ruby Cloud Sect? Even the 8 emperors, the guy would definitely fulfill her every wish to win her smile. How is this possible? Fong Min was dumbstruck. Stop fooling around. A saint would never spoil his girl that much. The 8 emperors in the sacred domain are like the sacred mountains to them. Their death will bring chaos. This isn't spoiling, it's about worth. What does it matter if the world burns, so long as Qingcheng smiles? Zhuo Fan gave an eerie grin. This is her background, the one that can topple cities. Why else would she be Chu Qingqing? Ha ha ha. Smiley face, Chingchang means city-toppling beauty. They arrived before the sect's main hall. Zhua Fan entered with a smile, leaving the girls stumped behind. Is Chingcheng that important? Just who is she? Chapter 1250, Rescue. Chapter 1250, Rescue. Proofreader, Papatonks. Who? The violent winds carried with them icy snow, pelting the entrance of a mountain cave. Chu Qingsheng had a lost gaze as she stared at the dancing snow. She finally sighed with a lowered head. A woman that had aged with grace sat on a flat stone outside the cave with closed eyes. She was like a statue, even as the snow landed on her body. Chu Qingsheng stood up and walked outside. She made a sign and struck bam. The entire peak trembled, with snow falling from it in every direction. Chu Qingsheng recoiled. Falling on the ground with a red face, the entrance of the cave now sported a shimmering wall. Vanishing right after the woman shook and all the snow on her fell, Mei Sangu shook her head at the stubborn Chu Qingsheng. I'm sorry that I let you go out the first time. I hoped you'd learn of the world, not have some wicked brat make you lose your way to the point you disobey your seniors. Senior Aunt May, please let me go. I don't want to go to Sacred Mountain. Why? Sacred Mountain has anything a cultivator could want. They lead the sacred domain. All of your sisters are dying to go. You are blessed with incredible fortune and yet cast it aside. Can't you tell right from wrong? Then let them go instead. Why do I have to go? Chu Qingcheng was forlorn. I don't care about cultivation or growing stronger, because I don't want to go. Mei Sangu could read her heart. Are you still thinking about that brat? Qingcheng, did he enchant you, or give you something for you to fall so badly after just seeing him a couple of times? I don't know either. Chu Qingcheng watched the dancing snow with a happy smile. Ever since I saw him, I felt drawn to him by familiarity, wanting to be with him forever. I don't care where I'll be and what it'll happen, so long as we're together. Just let me go, Senior Aunt May. Pa. Mei Sangu sighed, face-palming. Qingcheng, you're hopeless. It's Senior's sister who placed the barrier, so even I can't break it, but I wouldn't do it even if I could. It's not just for you, but the boy as well. Think for a moment. A saint has his eyes on you. Do you think he'll get away alive? I don't know how the saint will treat you, but it's certain that he will kill him and the Luo clan. He managed to gain status under the demonic emperor, but can he still withstand the Sacred Mountain's pressure? By going with him, you're sentencing the Luo clan to death. If you truly love him, think about his well-being instead of ruining everything for a brief moment of joy. Chu Qingcheng lowered her head, but she was still vehement. Why does it have to be me? There are so many stronger senior sisters in the sect. Why did that blind saint insist on me? He might really be blind. No, ahem. Forget I said that. I mean that the saint has special tastes. This is your chance. Chu Qingcheng clenched her fists, but slumped in the end as she sighed. Mei Sanga chuckled. She finally gave up. Haha. Whoosh. Mei Sanga jerked, still slow to react, as a figure grabbed her by the neck and prevented her from using her strength. Another figure flashed behind her and struck the back of her neck. Mei Sangu slumped. Unconscious Chu Qingcheng cried out, Senior Aunt. Miss Chu, stewards were told us not to harm anyone in Ruby Cloud sect. You can relax. The two figures were utterly respectful towards her. Chu Qingcheng stammered. You mean, Zhua Fan sent you? Yes, I am Li Jingtian, a Luo clan venerable, tasked by Steward Zhua to rescue you. I am Qiuyan Hai, also a venerable. The two cupped their hands and smiled. Chu Qingcheng gave a nod. I know you. You were with Zhua Fan in Gambling Town. Did Zhua Fan really send you to save me? Yes. The two echoed. Chu Qingcheng cheered up. How did he know I was kept here? Did my sisters tell him? Miss Chu, your sisters aren't that kind. Steward Zhua's uncanny foresight let us know of the Sacred Mountain's deal with your master after your rebirth. It's the only explanation for their treatment of you. Li Jingtian sneered. Chu Qingcheng's heart sank. She looked up to her master as her own mother, but master made a deal to give me over to the Sacred Mountains. Her heart was torn with grief, making her joy plunge in sadness. Li Jingtian saw she was silent and said, Miss Chu, Please stand back. We'll break the barrier and don't want to harm you. Steward Zhuo will never forgive us. Oh, thank you. Chu Qingqing woke up from her thoughts and took a couple steps back. Seniors, Master placed the barrier. Please be careful not to get hurt. Hurt! As peak emperors, these guys only feared Dan Xingshun and his group with their monstrous power. The two just chuckled. Qiu Yinhai's hand flashed with a searing flame, shouting, Old Li, the hags used an ice seal, weak to my attribute. I'm more than enough. Stand back. Qiu Yinhai struck with his palm, making it explode in a blistering red hum. The invisible barrier vanished on the spot. The heat stormed the cave, drying Chu Qingqing's soft skin and even making her hair curl. Qiu Yinhai panicked and bowed. Forgive me, miss. I used too much strength. You aren't hurt, are you? No. Chu Qingqing shook her head, amazed at his skill. Senior, you're incredible. Not even Senior Ant could remove Master's barrier, but you did it like nothing. Are you stronger than Master? Qiu Yinhai grinned in pride. Miss is too kind. I'm not that great, not when there are others in the Luo clan far stronger than me. As for your Master and Seniors, I can handle them. Ha ha ha. I actually overestimated your Master just now and used half my strength. A third would have sufficed. You're that much stronger than Master? How can this be? Master is one of the 8 emperors. Chu Qingqing was shocked at Qiu Yinhai's confidence and bragging. He even said that the Luo clan had many more better than him. Why are they relying on the demonic emperor if the Luo clan can handle the 8 emperors? Was there a clan in this world ever able to surpass the 8 emperors besides the Sacred Mountains? Chu Qingqing was utterly confused. Qiu Yinhai grinned, but Li Jingtian cut his showboating short. Steward Zhuo gave us a job. Let's save her and go. All right. Miss, come with us. It's now or never. Qiu Yinhai rushed to Chu Qingqing. She then recalled something and stepped away from Qiu Yinhai. The two were puzzled. Miss, what's wrong? You go, I'm staying. Tell Zhuo Fan that fate keeps us apart. What? If you take me, you'll become enemies with Ruby Cloud's sect and even get the Sacred Mountains to attack you. I could never forgive myself for getting all your clan killed. Chu Qingqing's shoulders slumped. Zhuo Fan earned his master's recognition in becoming steward, but I won't harm the Luo clan and him because of me. Go, and tell him to not look for me again and not use his status carelessly. Li Jingtian smiled. They snatched her either way and fled. Chu Qingqing cried out, and Li Jingtian shouted, Miss Chu, Steward Zhuo has all that taken care of. We don't care about some puny Sacred Mountains anyway. Ha ha ha. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Proofreader, Papatonks. The two rushed away, with Chu Qingqing in tow, yet not out of Ruby Cloud sect, instead slipping near the main hall. A patrol of disciples passed by, and the two knocked them out without a sound. What are you doing? Chu Qingqing whispered. Li Jingtian waved off her concern. Miss Chu, they're fine. Make sure to stay quiet and follow me. The two venerables led her to a hidden spot. Chu Qingqing was baffled, but trusted them since they harmed no one. They reached a hidden part of the wall of the building and looked in through the window. Steward Zhuo, you've drunk a dozen cups already? Can we start already? Master. Chu Qingqing gave the two an odd look. Seeing them grave, she could only refocus on the scene inside the hall, where Xiao Feng, her master, and Zhuo Fan, where Zhuo Fan placed his teacup down. This should be enough. I've stalled for an hour now. Should I keep going? Enchanting Empress, your maiden tea is delightful. I can't get enough of it. Steward Zhuo, Lord Saint called you here to discuss, not chat over tea. The enchanting Empress's face was dark, glaring at Zhuo Fan. It all started as courtesy, showing him hospitality, but this guy kept fussing over the tea being too cold or too hot. Then he stuffed himself with snacks, only to ask for a potty break. He was wasting time, no doubt about it, not wanting to get to it. We're all civilized people here, men of status that know courtesy. So being polite was only natural. But this? Zhuo Fan had been milking their courtesy for an hour now. The two didn't know what he was playing, but their patience was running thin, unable to keep their calm. Bam. Joie Fan slammed the teacup down, raging, "Humph, enchanting Empress, is this how you treat guests? Can a guy enjoy a nice warm tea around here? Is this Ruby Cloud sex hospitality? You've had 18 of them." He Xiaofeng's face twitched, snapping. "This is the 6th time you used that pretext. Can't you at least change your script? You might like this agitation, but we don't. What are you trying to pull?" Joie Fan beamed bashfully. "That many? Ha ha. Sorry, I didn't keep count. Though, could I get a refill?" "Enough." He Xiaofeng slammed the table. "Joie Fan, I've never seen a more revolting person in my life. I know what your game is, but no matter how much you stall, it won't work. It's time you give me an explanation. Why is the demonic emperor attacking 2 emperors without reason?" Joie Fan shrugged. "The whole of the sacred domain knows it, even the enchanting empress. The 2 emperors were at odds with the demonic emperor and waged war. If not for Lord Saint interfering, it would have been over by now. Later, Saint took the Nethersea map, then went back. So doesn't have to mix in our squabbles. It's the Sacred Mountain's decision, not requiring discussion with anybody, especially with you." He Xiaofeng unleashed his strong aura filled with bloodthirst. Joie Fan sneered inside. "He can flip out all he wants now, Humph." The enchanting empress intervened. "Sir Saint, think of everything. If Qing Chang finds out about his death, it will make things worse. It'll be bad if she takes her life." He Xiaofeng quelled his seething anger. The enchanting empress said, "Steward Joie, I know you wield all of the demonic emperor's forces, with Zhao Chun in seclusion. It's brave of you to go against 2 emperors in the demonic emperor's name. But once he comes out, he will make you answer for it. Nothing enchanting empress needs to concern herself with. All I do is for the demonic emperor. I started the war with Sir's approval. There's no point in you interfering. Ah, Steward Joie, you're burning bridges." The enchanting empress mocked. "The demonic emperor has the power to fight those 2 because I and the sword emperor wore them out. While you 2 stood by and watched, we took heavy losses. I can overlook this, but now you want us to stand back. That's not very honest, but it is, since our deal is done. You got your Nethersea map, so what are you lacking? I don't care about your squabbles. You are forbidden from fighting." He Xiaofeng slammed the table again. "The 8 emperors are about to change. A few disciples will come down from sacred mountains, replacing some of the 8 emperors. It's unclear who it will be. It's too soon for you to fight for more land." Joie Fan said, "Replace the 8 emperors? Are you kidding me? The 8 emperors represent sacred mountains, but they are outside of it. They come from every corner of the sacred domain and understand it best. Those entitled saints don't know the first thing about the sacred domain situation. They lack the experience to handle local factions and quell chaos. It'll be a miracle if the sacred domain won't burn to the ground. It won't be of benefit to anyone, including the sacred mountain supply. There's sure to be accidents. Are you looking down on us? That's no disdain, but fact." Joie Fan's eyes shone. "The sacred domain is a world where the strong rule, but for them to form their faction, they need the skill set for it, to know how to draw people in and feel at ease as their power grows. With the sacred mountains merely observing from above, they don't know anything about how things work down below. With a few reckless commands, the sacred domain's order will be broken, with the people crushed and suffering." Enchanting Empress was touched, with He Xiaofeng sneering. "No one will stir anything when we come down. We can even replace the 8 emperors with pigs, and there'll still be no objection. You guys only have pigs. You dare disgrace the sacred mountains?" He Xiaofeng roared. The enchanting empress rushed to stop him, advising, "Steward Joie, we have no say in the sacred mountains' decision. Their disciples have incredible talent and might be qualified for our positions. Over time, they will gain their experience and become able lords." "Humph, able you say? When they can't reach sainthood with those top cultivation methods and mountains of resources thrown at them." Joie Fan mocked. "Even making them into the 8 emperors, while time can give them experience, their mindset will never change. Do they rise from the bottom? Will they listen to others' suggestions? A bunch of pompous pricks will sooner or later destroy everything. Using the sacred domain's turmoil to raise their own people is so kind of the sacred mountains, humph. Zhuo Fan mocked. He Xiaofeng sneered, and the enchanting empress sighed. Also, Zhuo Fan continued. Enchanting empress, they'll send a few to replace the 8 emperors, but next time there will be even more. At some point, all will be replaced. The only land ruled by bottom cultivators will turn over into the hands of those high and mighty from the sacred mountains. Then there will be no end to our torment. The same goes for you as well. It's only a matter of time before only the sacred mountains could produce saints, taking all the highest positions. He Xiaofeng mocked. And isn't it now the same? Of course not. The 8 emperors have a share of resources left from the sacred domain, giving hope of creating some saints. But once the sacred mountains take everything, this little hope will be crushed. What chance do cultivators born outside the sacred mountains ever have of reaching the top? Blame it on their birth, for being born elsewhere. He Xiaofeng had a sinister smirk. No matter how antagonistic the 8 emperors are, they are to stay put. You can resume once the replacements are here. The other emperors should get word of it soon. No one gets to disobey, not even the demonic emperor, let alone a nobody like you. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone with bloodthirst. He came to see He Xiaofeng for another reason. But the sacred mountain's decision infuriated him in both of his lives. He had clawed his way from the bottom, his pride making him never lower his head to anyone, not even the sacred mountains, for he believed that one day he would surpass those fools. He didn't have anywhere near the resources they had, but he made up for it with effort. This decision, however, would make the common people lose all hope. The resources would be under tight control, and even reaching sainthood would only be possible if the sacred mountains allowed it. There would be no hope to become strong. He didn't know what got the sacred mountains to go crazy and issue such a decision. But Zhuo Fan would be sure to never let them succeed. I need to speed up taking down the 8 emperors. Chapter 1252, History. Chapter 1252, History. Proofreader, Papatonks. Taking a deep breath to calm down, Zhuo Fan's gaze went cold. He Xiaofeng waved him off with scorn. Go tell the demonic emperor to stop and change his aide, or the first replacement might just be his ha-ha. Saint, are you trying to get me fired? No, I just dislike mavericks. Then you shouldn't complain when I overstep. Overstep? He Xiaofeng taunted. You're threatening me now? Haha, with what? Zhuo Fan smirked. Oh, I don't know, Qing Sheng. Chu Qing Sheng. He Xiaofeng laughed harder. Her? Save it. No girl can ever affect me. Actually, I'm going to threaten you with her. Your defiant nature would have gotten you killed by now, even if you were one of the 8 emperors. You're only breathing because I don't want her to know. Once I take her to the sacred mountains, you best watch out, ha ha ha. Chu Qing Sheng was furious. This was his plan all along, and I almost trusted him. Zhuo Fan looked back with a smile. Saint Sir, you're too scornful of me. As a puny cultivator, I didn't get into the demonic emperor's good graces by luck alone. You think I'm like you, gambling with a girl's feelings? Too risky. Well, do you have anything else? Of course, Zhuo Fan snickered. The reason why you must have Chu Qing Sheng. He Xiaofeng shook and grew heavy. The enchanting empress panicked. Zhuo Fan, you can't spout nonsense. Lord Saint came from the sacred mountains for the first time. He passed by the Ruby Cloud sect, found Qing Qing stunning, and was drawn to her. A gentleman and a lady would make for a great couple. That's why he wanted to take her. Yeah, it's that simple. He Xiaofeng added. Zhuo Fan beamed. Let's be honest here, since there's only 3 of us. That's an excuse for everyone else to hide the truth and a terrible secret about Qing Qing's history. History? The two cried out, with He Xiaofeng looking hateful. What do you know? I know something, but enough. Zhuo Fan gave a sneaky smile. 100 years ago, the sky changed, an omen of great significance. It happened to be Qing Qing's birth nearby Ruby Cloud sect. The enchanting empress went over at once and knew the girl was special, covered in a prismatic glow, taking her for a disciple. Since it was too important, she silenced everyone that knew anything about her, including her parents. Chu Qing Sheng held her mouth, unable to believe her ears. The enchanting empress grew dark, cursing, "Zhua Fan, stop vilifying." "Enchanting empress, why so nervous? Allow me to finish first." Zhua Fan continued. The enchanting empress sneaked Qing Sheng into the sect to raise her, telling only her backer, the six sacred mountains lord. The lord knew taking the girl would draw unneeded attention, so he set it up for his son to marry her 100 years later. That would get the girl on the mountain with none the wiser. A perfect match between a gentleman and a lady. No, He Xiaofeng's face twitched and barked. Rubbish. Why would we do this to Qing Sheng? Because you found an ancient and scary record, that she is related to a sovereign path. Zhua Fan shouted. He Xiaofeng pointed at him in shock. How do you know that? The sacred mountains aren't the only ones with ancient records. No, impossible. We only found bits and pieces in our ancient records, yet your Luo clan under the demonic emperor has. Young master, the enchanting emperor's sharp voice stopped him, but it was too late. Zhua Fan taunted. What did I tell you? The sacred mountains' entitled princelings have nothing to them other than their huge backers. That sentence proves everything. Try denying it now. You bastard. You goaded me. He Xiaofeng was outraged and filled with bloodthirst. Chu Qingshang can't protect you anymore. You know too much. Zhua Fan didn't care. He was about to attack. My man-child of a prince, this is your fault. Knowing things doesn't mean death. Try anything and tomorrow, all of the sacred domain will hear about this. Everyone will be fighting over Chu Qingsheng. What worth would the sixth sacred mountain be then? Did you forget about the rest of the mountains? Ha ha ha. A bunch of decrepit old fools stuck at peak sainthood will be sure to go crazy at the mere hope of reaching the sovereign stage. He Xiaofeng shuddered, glaring at Zhua Fan with loathing. The enchanting empress was grave. Though amazed at the same time, she cowered before the saints like all the other 8 emperors. But this kid went and toyed with him, but having leverage on a saint could burn him to ashes at some point. He's playing with his life. It would keep him safe for now, but disaster would come in the end. The sixth sacred mountain would not forget this, destroying him and the Luo clan to hide this secret. The enchanting empress continued. I've been cautious to not let anything leak when I did it. How did you find out? The enchanting empress just admitted to everything. Chu Qingsheng was about to cry in shock, but Li Jingtian held her mouth, with faint sobs sounding as tears streamed down. Her master killed her parents. You weren't too careful. Someone played dead and escaped. Qingsheng asked me to help her find her history, so I did. Zhua Fan smirked. He had not the slightest clue, just guesswork. But this proved enough for the two to buy it and admit to everything. Now he could go after Qingsheng's sect without issues. The enchanting empress frowned. No, I made sure nobody escaped. There's no way that happened. Are you sure? Why else would he know so much? He Xiaofeng cursed. What do you want to keep silent? Zhua Fan shrugged. I'll tell you when I figure it out. But I hope nothing bad will happen to the Luo clan and the demonic emperor due to the sacred mountain's decision. Zhua Fan left then, laughing just before exiting. You're nothing but an idiot saint. You're not even close to challenging me. Damn it. Bam. He Xiaofeng crushed the table. I'm the young lord of the sixth sacred mountain, yet I can't even touch that blasted bug. This kid is truly frightening. The enchanting empress sighed, waiting for He Xiaofeng to calm down before smiling. He's only clever, while beneath you in every other way. He Xiaofeng's face twitched, with blood leaking from his mouth. Curses, he is nothing compared to me at all. Is that how you intend to flatter me? Master, this is bad. A disciple burst in. Master, our sisters have suffered an attack, and 50 people are unconscious. 50 people unconscious without any sign of who did it? They must be incredible. Search the sect. Yes. The disciple rushed out. Just as another entered. Master, Senior Aunt May was found unconscious, and junior sister Qingsheng is missing. What? He Xiaofeng roared. Chu Qingsheng is my sweetheart, raised for 100 years for me alone. I won't have this. I will slaughter any that had a part in this. He Xiaofeng vanished before anyone could stop him. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Proofreader, Papatonks. Whoosh. In a dense forest, Zhuofan waited as Li Jingtian and Xiao Yanhai showed up with Chu Qingsheng, Steward Zhua. No need for courtesy. Zhuofan only looked at Chu Qingsheng, understanding her pain. Qingsheng, that's how it is. Don't feel sad. It's all in the past now. Chu Qingsheng felt devastated, hugging him hard. Zhuofan, I have no one. I don't have parents, and now my master is a brutal murderer. There, aren't I still here? Rubbing her back, Zhuofan softly said, The hag is a pretender, now you know. It's good that you're finally leaving her. Just tell me how you want her handled, and I'll help you. Chu Qingsheng hesitated. The enchanting empress had taken care of her for 100 years and was also her master. She couldn't forsake everything just like that. Even with this betrayal, Zhuofan was happy with ruining their relationship. Chu Qingsheng's attachment to the enchanting empress had hindered Zhuofan's plans for so long. But now he was free to act. Chu Qingsheng wouldn't like to know he would kill the hag, but she wouldn't go against it. Zhuofan patted her back, consoling her. You go with them to the Luo clan, where it is safe, so that guy won't take you. Chu Qingsheng nodded. Zhuofan was now her only lifeline. Take Miss Chu and protect her at all times. Yes. The elders bowed and held Chu Qingsheng's arms before shooting off. Zhuofan grinned minutes later. Xiaofeng was darting everywhere to look for any clues. Bastard. He stalled on purpose to confuse me. I won't fall for it. I will catch you and make mincemeat out of you. I will get Qingsheng back. Whoosh. A figure blocked his path, making him jerk to a stop. Sir Saint, where are you going? Zhuofan chuckled with cupped hands. Xiaofeng barked. Rotten filth, get lost. This doesn't concern you. It's our greatest honor to serve you, Saint. Tell me what it is, sir, and I may be of help. I'm a saint, dominating the whole of the sacred domain. What could you possibly do to help me? Get lost before I lose my patience. Don't think for a second that you can show off just because you know my secret that I can't kill you. Know that I can give you a fate worse than death. Oh, I see. Then please enlighten me. Ha! Zhuofan snickered, standing there and blocking his path. Xiaofeng popped a vein. Fine, you asked for it, so don't come crying to me later. Who? Xiaofeng unleashed his mighty saint powers, putting all his pressure on Zhuofan. The dreadful aura would have put normal emperors out of commission from the heavy wounds. Zhuofan stood like it was a breeze that fell on him. A vortex of black energy on him dissipated the saint's power, fully absorbing it. How can this be? Xiaofeng gasped in utter shock. You're just a bug, yet you can wait. You're not in the chi condensation stage? How else can you fly? Zhuofan snickered. There's no way a chi condensation cultivator could fly, let alone block half your pressure. They'd be crushed to pieces instead of still talking to you. Ha ha ha. Why you were laying low? Xiaofeng gaped, then turned grave. What cultivation do you have? Around the peak of the Emperor's stage. I see. Not bad, but still nowhere close to my level. Xiaofeng relaxed, his pride once again stoked. You still dare block me? Beat it already. Xiaofeng shot for Zhuofan, using all his power, wanting to run him through. A saint had the power to do that against an emperor, for sure. Though he wasn't against any normal emperor, Xiaofeng clashed with something that felt like a wall. Stopping him in his tracks, he looked up with shock to find a hand grabbing him. How is this possible? Xiaofeng was overwhelmed. An emperor stopped me with one hand. Bam! Zhuofan's Qilin arm flicked him 1,000 meters away, making him tumble around. When he recovered, he was grave. What the hell are you? Luo clan steward, Zhuofan. Zhuofan smirked, his calmness making even his surroundings tranquil. Xiaofeng was scared. To have such an easy time stopping him meant he had incredible power. I really underestimated him. Xiaofeng frowned and clenched his fist's sacred body. Xiaofeng shook and exploded in a white light, forming a huge image around him that had 8 divine swords on its back. Xiaofeng held his head high with pride inside the huge figure. The giant hands took 2 flickering swords from its back, each hundreds of meters long, that unleashed biting winds as they were drawn. The enchanting empress had just looked over her unconscious disciples when she froze before shooting off. The saint unleashed his sacred body. He must have met with a great expert. Whoosh! The slash cut the sky as it pointed at Zhuo Fan. You then know our differences being a peak emperor. Your imperial mark is nothing before my sacred body. Bring Chu Qingchang back right now, for I have plenty of ways to silence the Luo clan and the demonic emperor. Oh, really? Zhuo Fan mocked him, lifting the Qilin arm with a burning look in his eyes. I'm sorry. While there's no bad blood between us, you are after Qingcheng. The sooner you're out of the picture, the better. You don't know, but in Nether Sea, I planned on dealing with you, though I never got the chance. Now, haha, you came asking for it. He Xiaofeng laughed. Handle me? You got some nerve. Show me then. How will you handle a saint? Boom. He Xiaofeng slashed his two swords at Zhuo Fan with the power to rend the world. The world shifted and the sun dimmed. For the end of days was night. Zhuo Fan was unfazed, showing no reaction as the blades reached him. His eyes shone and punched Qilin Tyrant Fist. Rumble. A punch to destroy the world. He Xiaofeng's sword clashed with Zhuo Fan's punch, and in a flash of red, they broke. The space cracked as black scars appear around them from the indomitable fist. As the unstoppable power reached He Xiaofeng, the mighty fist ran him through the sacred body, had a 500-meter hole in it. The huge body tottered before fading to nothing. He Xiaofeng coughed 3 mouthfuls of blood as he fell to the ground. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Proofreader, Papatonks. Bang! He Xiaofeng slammed hard into the ground, his body broken in every way. Worse, his soul was severely injured, needing a decade to pull himself together. But now, he didn't have any strength left in him. Just like a bug, even a Foundation establishment stage could slap him into the beyond. Who? Zhuo Fan drifted down, looking down at his victim with a sinister smile. He Xiaofeng was trembling in fear. Why, you're not human. You're a monster, spiritual beast, or a dragon. I'm a saint, the strongest human. How can you destroy my sacred body without even an imperial mark? Ha ha, you're right, though a bit off. Zhuo Fan shook his head. I'm half beast, but not a dragon or spiritual beast. The sacred beast, decimating dragon ancestor, remolded my body with his scale, making it unbreakable. This right hand comes from a soaring Qilin leg. In the Nether Sea, I gained guidance from the Tyrant Emperor. I hardly need to use anything to deal with an early saint bigot like you. My foundation is leagues above you. What? He Xiaofeng gaped. You have so many ancient experts behind you. Just who are you? Former demonic emperor Zhui Yifan. Current Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan smiled. As for the process of my second coming, I'll leave that a secret. Gulp. He Xiaofeng stammered. Demonic Emperor Zhui Yifan. I heard he got 9 Serenity's sovereign's cultivation method, and that's why you could avoid that calamity. Right, but it was too late. What are you doing? He Xiaofeng shuddered in fear. Zhuo Fan snickered. What, you ask? Isn't it obvious? I just spilled my greatest secrets, and shouldn't you offer the same consideration? See consideration? Right, show some consideration by sharing as well. Zhuo Fan smirked, raising a hand that oozed black energy, placing it on his head. I lay my heart open to you, so you must die, since dead men tell no tales. By Sir Saint, wish you great fortune to be born in the sacred mountains again, unlike me, to come from the bottom rung. Though I don't mind, since my base birth allowed me to send you, of lofty birth, to reincarnate. Ha ha ha. And no, don't act. Wails of pain shuddered the forest as black energy spread out. When Zhuo Fan stood, he was surrounded by dust and rags taken by the wind. Zhuo Fan eased a breath. A saint sure has a strong cultivation. It's good that I've not used demon transformation art for a while. I'll need a few days to consolidate. I'd rather avoid ending up like the traitor Zhao Chun. Ah, whoosh. Zhuo Fan's ear twitched at the sound and vanished. You came just in time to report to the 6th sacred mountain, Humph. Whoosh! The enchanting empress landed and looked around. Strange, I just saw Saint's sacred body around here. Where is he? Master, Ruby Cloud sect disciples arrived as well. We've looked around, but there's no sign of anyone. The enchanting empress nodded and hesitated. Is the battle over? And so they scattered? There's not a body around. So that means the one taking Qing Sheng couldn't be stopped by a saint? Won't it mean they have a saint as well? The enchanting empress stepped on something that caught her attention. The dust as well as bits of familiar clothing. The enchanting empress cried out in utter shock. This is the saint's clothing. What's it doing here? Did he get killed? SSS. The enchanting empress gasped in fear. Her knees softened and slumped to the ground, shell-shocked. This is really bad. The 6 sacred mountains, young Lord died in the Ruby Cloud sect's domain. Then the Lord will take it out on me. Disciples, gather everyone around at once. We'll report to the 6th sacred mountains. 2 weeks later, on the 6th sacred mountain, in a quaint and huge study, a middle-aged man with twin mustaches held dust and scraps of clothing in his hand with red eyes. The man exploded with a vicious aura, pulverizing his desk and everything in the room. The shivering enchanting empress was sent flying and coughed blood. Who did this? Why was my son the only one to suffer in the 8 emperors' lands? The middle-aged man roared, snapping his bloodshot eyes on the enchanting empress, flashing in her face and grabbing her hair. He howled in her ear, "Enchanting empress, explain yourself. What happened? Why did my son suffer in your sect?" Mountain Lord, young Lord's fate had nothing to do with me. We didn't do it. Of course I know that, so stop wasting my time. You don't have what it takes. Bam! The enchanting empress got thrown into a wall as the man raged. I'm asking you who killed my son in your sect's domain? You better have an answer, or I'll wipe the Ruby Cloud sect from the sacred domain. Mountain Lord, we will investigate this and report to you. The enchanting empress kneeled again in terror. The middle-aged man held his head with grief. Fenger, you suffered so much, not even leaving a body behind. Fenger, I thought Chu Qingsheng would be great for you in understanding sovereign stage. But now I shall never see you again. What of your disciple then? What happened to her? If she's devastated, I can allow her entrance into the sacred mountain as a widow. She. Enchanting empress stammered. The man turned frosty. What about her? Hasn't she been getting close to Feng? Doesn't she care if he died? Humph. Absurd. A sacred mountain young lord shows his care, and she doesn't want it? She just doesn't know her own fortune. Fine. Since there's nothing there, I'll still allow her on sacred mountain as my daughter-in-law for being with Fenger for so long. But better have her clean her act as a devastated widow. That's the only way to move me and allow her in without raising suspicion to the other mountains. Did I make myself clear? Mountain Lord, teach that's beside the point. The enchanting empress's face shook hard. The man gave her a long look. Not the point. Then what is it? I'm not asking her to truly feel for my son. Just act like it to fool others. What's so hard about that? How did you teach her all these years to not manage a disciple? No, Mountain Lord, I do know how to manage my disciples and guide them after so many years together, but what? But she has to be present first. The man went blank, his grief all but lost. What's that supposed to mean? You're not saying. The enchanting empress lowered her head. She was actually so in love with Fenger that she took her life? The man's mind went wild with guesses. The enchanting empress blinked. Lost? Took her life? Qingsheng and your son barely know each other. Aren't you overestimating your son's charm here? The enchanting empress silence made the man angrier. You're such a disappointment. How could you not watch your disciple? We've been raising this prize pig for a century. Even with my son gone, she shouldn't have been harmed. Damn hag, give me back my prize pig. The man clutched the enchanting empress' neck with fury in his eyes. He cared more for Chu Qingsheng than for his son. Mountain Lord, listen to me. Qingsheng is fine. The enchanting empress' hoarse voice barely got through. The guy perked up and let her go. Then what was that about? I thought. She isn't here because someone took her. Enchanting Empress, said. The man's face shook. Then he clutched the enchanting Empress's neck again, but even tighter. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.